living hard today with the Starbucks tea. Lee went out and got it. All right, all my children. Mitch, what's up? Let me just get a little bit of can everyone hear me okay and everything okay? And okay, did everyone have a good week? Everyone have a good week? Good. Okay. Look at Amy G. Rents out there in the wild.
Guess where she is?
What's that?
Guess where she is right now?
I'm gonna go with a good, strong Colorado, maybe Utah.
Amy, do you want to respond?
Good guess. I'm in Wyoming.
Wyoming doesn't exist to me.
A little tiny town called Ten Sleep.
I know Ten Sleep. I've been through all across Wyoming many times. I've been threatened to be arrested in Wyoming. That was fun when I was a young kid in a town called Graybull.
Okay.
Just as I'm getting ready to come up over the pass, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming out of the pass and I was flying down into that tiny little one-horse town, and a cop. This is a true life story. A cop pulled me over on the way out of Graybull. So, okay, I'm coming over the mountains, the Bitterroots, I want to say. You're coming over the Bitterroots on 20 or something out of where it makes that little hook up towards Sheridan or something. And you go over that mountain pass. It's beautiful. You come down into Graybull, 55 down to 30. You drive through a little shithole Graybull. On my way out of Graybull, he pulls me over and says, "You were doing 50 in the 30 before you got to Graybull." So I go through the town, and basically that's anybody they pull over. I was 23 years old. I had 90 bucks to my name to get me back to Oregon, in a piece of shit Dodge Caravan van, and he made me go back into the little town to the little supermarket and take money out of my bank account and pay him on the spot. No receipt, no nothing. So he died shortly after, because for the next 200 miles, I wished him horrible things. He died soon after, and that's okay. But, you know, I got ripped off on the road, you know, a couple different times, but that's true life story. Okay. That's a nice place to be. I've been to Ten Sleep before. We're going to be driving home in about 3 weeks, and we're going to be going across Wyoming.
Nice.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Okay, let me see all the happy faces. Okay, Brigida. Yeah, Brigida, there you are. Have I met you before, Brigida? Brigida? Is this thing working?
Yeah, you met me in Boston and a workshop.
I remember your name. So you've heard this stuff, which means she can compare and contrast all the lies. You know, sometimes when I do these things back to back, I'll end up selling 1,000 more books just from the noon to the 4 o'clock. And the kid comes up to me and he goes, "You said you sold 59,000 books and now you're selling 60,000 books, Draplin. You want to explain it?" And I go, "Shit's moving fast, kid." That's what I say. So, all right, Terry, I know old Nevis is always stinking up all the comments. Good hat there. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Now, we're going to go all night. Devin, I'm your dad, and we're going all night. Or we'll go 2 hours, see what happens, go into some overtime. Who wants to stick around? Stick around. Whoever has to get back to Golombowski has to get back to his house arrest with that thing around his ankle. It's going to blow into that thing to start the car. I understand. He's going to get out of here by 7:30 or whatever his time. We'll figure it out. So let's just do a good solid 2 hours and see what happens. And if you guys want to go longer, I'm game to go as long as you want. Okay. So you know, tell stories or tell lies. I'll read the newspaper to you. What can I do? I'll do magic tricks, whatever. Okay, just to, you know, entertain myself also. Okay. So last week, you know, I've got some stuff prepared for this week. So there's going to be some tips and tricks. Last week, we kind of left it kind of loose and open-ended. Now, here's the deal. I went to class, paid all this money, 98 to 2000 in Minneapolis. Paid all this money, and you know, the teacher would say, next week, show up with your assignment, and they would flip out, you know, if you didn't have it. And I get it, you know, I was there to earn that grade, and I was there to learn, and they're there to earn their money. But that's not the case here. So if someone utilized even one little thing that I tried to show you guys last week, that's awesome. Does anyone have something that they want to share? Okay.
If you do, you can put it in the chat. You can put it in the links there. And Aaron, you can just click through any links that you see in
Where
the
do I
chat.
find it? Is this up here in the little chat? Okay. Yep. Let me take a look here. Okay, so we've got Terry and then Amy. Okay, Emma. Okay, stuff's flying in here. Now, you guys got to bear with me. I got to like click on these things. And what we're going to do is we're just going to talk through a couple. Okay. I'm already picking my favorites. What's up, Melissa? I know you. I've met you before. Hello. Okay, I'm already picking my favorites. So we're going to go through a couple of these. And what I want to do is, first of all, as a pro tip, call it what you will, is discuss kind of how to discuss things, right? Not taking advantage of my stature over G-Rents, you know, and being like, I'm the teacher and she's the little suckling little student, you know, little piglet or whatever, you know, none of that. Like, the idea is, how do you guys talk, you know, over these things? How do you guys talk when you're on a call? How do you guys talk when you're sitting next to friends? Okay, so that's kind of just a weird little pro tip of just how to discuss things. Because first of all, I've been in the situation where the teacher takes advantage of the, you know, the student, and then first thing you do is they start to slam you. That's just not cool. Okay, it's not productive. And I know I say a lot of dumb things, but this is actually the stuff that really matters. Because if I go and slam Terry's stuff, she's never going to forget that. Now, if she sends something that we all can take a look at and go, that could use a little bit of work, there's a way to talk about that. That's all I'm saying, as sort of just a general pro tip. You know, as empathetic people, remember, comments go a long way. You know, something shooting from the hip, you know, can really affect someone's experience. So, you know, it's just, we're in a weird time right now. We're going to have to learn how to handle each other, you know, over these weird, there's pauses and delays and stuff. So, okay, I'm going to click on the first one that came in. It was Terry's. I'm going to see what we have here. Oh my God. Just kidding. Okay. So I'm going to download this to my desktop and make sure that I've got it and I can play with it here and get it. Okay, let me see. Let me do a direct download. Now, Terry, as the way this would work, turn your thing on so we can hear you a little bit.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Terry. Okay. Now, if you could, I've got this thing cracked open. Should I share my screen? Probably, you guys, right?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, let me. How do I do that again? Screen. Okay, we're gonna be here for 9 hours. Look at this. Okay. So, am I sharing? You guys see that? See that right there? Is anyone looking for a cheap set of filing cabinets? It's pickup only. Okay. These things, you cut the shit out of your hand, but we'll do a commercial on that later. Okay, so I'm going to crack open her document now, and let's take a look. Now, if you could just explain to us what you were kind of doing here. It looks like the orbit a little bit.
Yeah, I was trying to use the orbit and like the idea of subtracting. And basically the idea for that was like, first, I'm not a designer, I'm a filmmaker. So like this is all very new for me and kind of weird and hard. But
Sure.
the idea is I'm starting a YouTube channel and I was trying to make a logo. And neves in Portuguese means snow. So that was like the idea, trying to do like this little snowflake thing.
Right.
And also with the iris of the lens of a camera.
Okay.
Like it was, I put in some time, but it's kind of hard not being a designer going through all of this. And, you know, I put my 10,000 hours into making videos and not design. So it's.
Right. Well, you know, check it out. There's no rule that says you can't be a filmmaker by day and then, you know, an enthusiast by night to go mess with things. You know, I mean, there's, you know, I applaud you for trying, because check it out. I'm not going and learning how to edit film, you know what I mean? Because it's just a whole nother ball of wax that I am sort of like, you know, every now and again, maybe once a year, I have to put a couple little clips together or something, and that's enough for what I need. But the idea that you're here and you're trying some new stuff, that's awesome. That's awesome. So let's just talk through it, because, you know, to build a snowflake and the idea of using speed, or, you know, I would hope that you would start with a sketch, right? You'd start with a
Yeah.
sketch. And then, you know, when you're using these really simple properties, because, you know, the thing is, you know, taking a look at this one right here, if I just go and I start to, you know, I don't know how you built these things, and that's okay. But the idea that you're using the orbit to push these things around, because remember, to make a snowflake, if I come up here, the simplicity of this is simply this. Here is, you know, one of the bars of the snowflake. And all I want you guys to think about at all times is the power of the orbit, because you know, once again, and I know this is a little redundant, but here's what's cool about this. If we go in, we make sure these are all centered, right? So we've got this bar, this circle, and this bar. We grab the two, make sure they're both centered vertically and horizontally, and we go put a little something in here. Now that could just be anything for that matter. Now just watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go and just freestyle a little bit here and grab one of these little things and do one of these. Okay, that's sort of a chicken's gaggle. I don't know what the hell that thing is, that, you know, off the top of a chicken's head or something. Who cares? You know, it's a piece of kelp, whatever. But watch now, using, you know, using the power of the circle. I can already tell, you know, by what she gave me, that she understands how to push these things around. So I don't know where I can help you other than, well, ask, you know, you can ask a question in a second, but the idea is to get this one to flip over here. Check it out. Command C, Command F, grab the circle, go over to your properties tool. What do we got here? Whoops. Go into your properties tool and flip it. And now that one is perfectly centered on the other side here. Now, if we grab these two, we want to build the snowflake. You grab the two, just for speed, you know, you could do like a Command G, grab the blue line, and now go over here and double click on the little rotate tool. And let's do 60 degrees and copy it. Then Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. Now what you just did there, now it's a little off, sure. Now watch. If you did that, and that was going kind of quick, now watch. That, you know, you can't quite see it because they're overlapping and getting a little weird. Get rid of the ones you just did. And knowing how that thing is going to work, push it up a little bit, and let's do it again. Grab this one, grab the blue, double click the rotate tool, 60 degrees, copy, 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 copy. Now what you're doing is you're mathematically using that orbit. That's the main thing, because check it out. You made a decision here, you come over here, you adjust a little bit, and you keep on going until you like what you're doing. So if we go back and we take a look, I just want to say awesome, because what you're doing is you're just messing around, you know. And if you're trying to get somewhere and there is a little something happening right here, you know, and there's, I mean, you know, once you start to get into the point where like you're comfortable where these things live, you know, they don't have to live on the 60, 60, 60, 60, the 60, 120, 180, you know. Once you get it to where it's all equidistant, you can go there and, you know, move everything 30 degrees, like right here, right? So then everything is just on that, because what you're doing is you're using that outer rim as its axis, right? That's the orbit trick. Now, at some point, let's just say this is the logo right here. At some point, you have to get rid of that orbit. So one thing I would always say is make sure you keep them a different color, just so you know what you're looking at, right? Maybe just on a tonal level, you could bring it down to like a real light gray, right? So, you know, you can sort of see the positive shapes here and then adjust, because at some point you're going to take this thing down to here and say, okay, this is the logo, here's what we are, but we always have a version back behind it. So, okay, Terry, do you have a question that I can try to help you with?
Yeah, I think my biggest question for you is, I feel like I don't know if you've ever seen this video by Ira Glass, which she calls the gap, which is like you have this idea in your head, but it's super hard to translate, especially when you're starting. And I feel a little bit like that with graphic design. And maybe if you have like some tips on how I can get like to translate this idea faster.
Okay, well, like anything, a lot of what I do is I will, you've heard this from me a million times, you guys, but the power of a quick sketch, the power of a quick sketch. Now, what she said when we started this thing is she said something about, if this is a quick sketch, and I'm just going to go real quick and I'll whip it up and show you guys. If this is kind of the little shutter, let me see here, the little shutter idea, okay, and we're making a shutter, now check it out. If we're going to go build a shutter and we're going to use two of the properties that we were talking about. Now watch, I'm going to go really fast just to show you the power of the geometry. Okay, there's we'll call that the orbit. Make this something, so you can see it. There it is, red. Now bring this one in. This is going to be the actual, let's say the little mark or the logo. And what we're doing here is now this one is going to be black. Okay, so we can actually see what we're working with. Now to go take a look at that sketch. Okay, you guys can't see that because how can I do that quick? Okay, here's what I did in my, I'm sorry, you guys. I drew this and I drew this. The little, the aperture, okay? The little deal, okay? So I drew this really quick. Now, if you notice, that's me just whipping it out real fast, okay? But the way these things rest, if you got them to, sort of there it is, and you notice this thing rests right here. Now you start to experiment just to see what this thing might feel with. Now check it out. By subtracting this white bar above it, and we're just going to lay this thing over it. Now let's just be reckless for a second. Let's just make it too long. And then we grab that red bar and we double click the rotate tool, 60 degrees, copy it. Well, it's grabbing that. Okay, sorry, this one's got a little bit of color, white. Make sure it's got nothing, it's not filled with any color. Now grab that bar, grab that red, double click the rotate tool, copy it, and you can start to see where this thing starts to work out. Now, they're too long. So what you can do is you can go back, adjust this one right here a little bit, and let's try it again. Because what we're doing is we're getting used to the property of using that orbit. Okay, doesn't work, we got to go do it again. Now watch, watch what I'm gonna do here. I'm just gonna bring this one up a little bit and this one up. This is all still live later on, right? And now we're gonna grab it again because we're starting to eyeball how to make this thing feel good. So now if I take this thing and we're starting to see a little aperture come out of that thing. Now, what's cool about this, if Terry looks at this thing and says, you know what, it's just too thick. It's just too thick. And you say, okay. Well, then maybe what you do is you get rid of everything inside it, around it, except for one black circle, one bar, and the red out in the back. So let's get rid of all that stuff. And then we bring this one in just a little bit. We're just scooching it in a little bit. There it goes. And we go do it again. We grab the red outer orbit, double click the, copy it 60 degrees, 60 degrees, 60 degrees, 60 degrees, 60 degrees. So now what we're doing is that is still within the realm of like, it's mathematically sound. Now, if you said you want to do something like a little bit of a snowflake and an aperture, then what I would say is, okay, now just take a look at what we're working with here. Here's a piece. Now go and just shear this piece off. Maybe the way you could do that is just put a box around it. And like, okay, now watch what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna get rid of that. I'm just gonna subtract that piece off of there. Minus front, there it is. I'm gonna put this little piece right here. I'm gonna bring another little piece over here. And we're just gonna eyeball this thing just for the sake of just seeing where it's at. Now see now right there. Now, if we dig where that's starting to happen, now go get rid of all these other things, because once again, the principle here is we want these three things, group it, okay? Now go grab the red and bring it around. And you're starting to see an aperture, but check it out. If that's too overbearing or whatever, well, then you can go make another version of this thing and get weird with it. So here's the deal. It's like, even just right now, with what happened there, you guys, I understand I do this an awful lot, right? And I'm trying to act quick, but the idea is what the principles there. If the sketch was, and you can't see my second sketch, But my first sketch was basically, I'll just do it real quick for you guys to kind of see. Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, something like this, you know. You get a little bit of filigree on there. I don't know. And then you start to put that thing in there, because check it out. If you did that and you liked how this thing, you know, now you can start getting weird with it, you know. Keep the orbit, just leave the black shapes there. Now you can start getting weird with it and take this thing and go add a little bit of stroke to it. And it's, you know, there's some little crusty little bits there we have to figure out. But the idea is, now that, you know, there's something starting to happen there. Now remember, if that's too big there, you can go and adjust this one back here. But the idea is she's working within it. Now to try to address the Ira Glass sort of thing, it's like, listen, the best power I have is with a sketch. I can get there quicker if I have a blueprint. So I start with a sketch first, you know, and then I go play around, and basically it's just sort of massaging things, you know. But what you don't want to do, and that's why when I look here and I see that you're making iterations and changes and things and stuff, that is awesome, because what you're doing is you're just playing, you know. And yes, it is going to be frustrating. Check it out, Terry. If I sat down at an editing bay right now, I wouldn't even know where to start. So I do understand that this is super tricky, but like anything, you know, these are simple moves, and that's why, you know, I love to share it, because the power is in, you know, is the sort of, there's a precision to this. And it's really not that complex, you know. You're just, at least with that orbit. So when I'm building things that, like, I'll just show you, okay, we're going off the grid here. Okay, let me see here. And I built this little snowflake. So check this thing out. Now watch what I'm doing here. There it is. But you can see here where it was going crazy. And by the time I'm down here, you know, and I'm trying to get parts and pieces and things and stuff, you know, it's all based on that orbit. One little change this way, and then you just zip it around and so on. Now you can see here, you know, when you're using, like, this is my reference, right? Here's my little bit of reference I grabbed somewhere. And it's just to get that little flavor of this into this. Just not necessarily make Aaron Draplin in this same typeface. No, just to learn from it, right? Because, you know, when I look at old reference, that's just a pro tip. It's not just to make my version of it. It's to learn the beauty of this little section right here, how those little things, that little resonance right there, it's perfect. Now remember, when they did this back in the day, someone drew that by hand, right? And that's, you know, we have to have a little bit of respect for what those guys did. So when I build these things, you know, it's, you know, until I get to this point where this thing now is like perfect. And then I went and made keychains and stickers and goodies and shit out of it. But it took me a while, you know. See the orbit right here? This is where I'm doing it. And I'm just isolating things. So same sort of deal. Okay, so was that helpful to talk about a little bit?
Yeah, that was actually, like, quick question. Would it be okay with you if I went with this idea that you did and played around with it and
Yes,
maybe
it would
use
be.
that?
It's fine. $1,500. Just kidding. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'll save it for you, and then we'll send it
Cool.
back to you, and you can go
Oh,
nuts. And if you need
thank
to,
you.
you know, reach out to me and say, I was trying this, we'll figure it out. Okay, so let me save this
Thank you
here.
so much. Thanks,
Let me,
man.
of course, Terry. I know your name. I know your name a little bit. I see you. I see you coming around. Okay, let's see here. We'll call this one. Now watch what I'm going to do here. Pro tip, DDC 20. That means DDC 20, just Draplin Design Company 2020, we'll say. And we'll call this one the Making Midwest Workshop _ Terry. Because now it's in my stuff, right? Okay, _ Terry. Because now I'm just going to leave this on the desktop for now. So I've got a copy of it out of that PDF. This was something else. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna go grab something else here. Let me see here from the chat. Where do you go to the chat? Okay, we got stuff coming in. Okay, so I'm gonna grab G Rentz's stuff here. Okay. Oh man, how the hell? What does this mean? Where is it going? What's it doing? Where's it? It's wanting to add folders and shit.
Do you want me to do a drive file instead?
Well, I don't know. It's just, I don't know where it's taking it to. is what I'm saying. It opened it up on my Dropbox. Let me try it again. Let me see what happens here. Maybe it'll go right to, yeah, it says that the folder doesn't exist. So
Let me.
Amy, are you on a Mac or a PC?
I'm on a. Here, let me try again. Try that.
At the bottom of the list there.
okay,
Yeah.
I got it. I got it.
That worked?
Okay.
Pretty cool. Thank you for your patience.
Okay. They're Wyoming. All right, Wyoming. Okay, everybody. What do we, how do we work this damn thing again? Okay, there's the chat. How do I switch back to just people can see your screen? I don't know how this even works anymore.
What are you trying to do?
How do you just turn off the damn screen to talk? Okay, you know what? Forget it. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay. Something isn't quite coming in here. That's okay. Okay.
Oh, it's probably just the type that I used. I made some notes.
Okay. Original Creek Carrier Corporation cannot figure out how to get lines around with shapes intact. So explain to me.
Oh, I didn't embed the original Crete. So driving out here, I saw a bunch of semi trucks, so their logos are really cool.
Yeah.
Crete Carrier one was the one that stuck out to me. Basically, I was trying to challenge myself to use just the shapes without using the Pathfinder tool, so that, like, I don't know if I misunderstood you or if I took it too far, but basically being able to go back and edit things without having to like recreate the whole thing over again.
Mhm.
The big number one there with no letters in it, I just used the Pathfinder tool and then outlined it. Like built the number one out of rectangles and circles, and
Yep,
then
good.
but then I tried to do it again without doing the Pathfinder, and then I just couldn't figure out how to outline to get those nice chunky outlines without the circle that's cutting out the top rectangle overlapping the lines, basically.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. Just, I think, you know, these are hard to answer because it's like, if this is the thing that you made right here, when you go and you outline that, which is under here, check it out under Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. Now watch what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to grab this again over here, because check it out. I don't know how to use all those damn this stuff, the appearance stuff, you know, where it tells you all this.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? You know, he could figure it out and then die an hour later. Okay, who cares? All right, how's that for some Illustrator prowess for you? I just don't care. So instead, I'm going to grab this thing. I'm going to bring it over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. See what I'm doing there? Now, what we just did here, now this is tricky because you're going to get all these parts and pieces inside there. If we start to dissect this thing, yep, there's an outline there, there's an outline here, and it starts to become confusing really, really quick, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So once again, if I'm going to go draw a little arrow just so I know where we're going here, oh, come on now. And I take these three pieces, and just so I can see what we're messing with, you know, I mean, remember, there's lots of ways to build stuff, you guys. And really the simplest thing is like, okay, even there's this thing has another stroke on it somewhere. So we'll go do it again, Object, Path, Outline, Stroke, and we're gonna flip it around, because now you can say, okay, if I just want to build the thing that we're seeing over here, and I grab these three pieces, 1, 2, and 3, Command C, Command V, and now I should just have those 3 lines and now stack it appropriately. So we've got, this one is going to be red. Oh man, I don't know what kind of shit you got going on you know, you're trying to build this stuff. See, I'm already losing my cool. G rents. What are you building this in like a McDonald's parking lot to get that free Wi-Fi or something? What's happening out there, Wyoming? Okay, so here's where it gets
I don't know what I'm doing.
It's okay. It's okay. What I'm trying to get at is the moment you put things, I mean, the idea is this: to isolate things down to the simplest of shapes is a complete puzzle sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to isolate this thing so we know where we're messing with things. Because if this, you command X and then Command F, we're gonna color it a different color, green, there it is. And then that red outline goes behind that one, and here's that one, we'll call this one white. And now we're just trying to build this thing piece by piece. Because if I take a look at this thing, and I'm gonna go put, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a black outline around it so we can just see what we're messing with here and dissect what we're getting at here, because that's where, you know, we can learn something. Like here it is, okay, there's a black outline. Now watch, when I pull these things off, one, I'm gonna click the white one behind it. Is that it? Okay, there it is. And then I'm gonna click the back one. I'm gonna pull these over. I'm gonna just drag them and hold down the Option and the Shift. And there those are. Now watch when we take this stuff apart.
Yeah.
You know, there's just other
That's what
parts
I
and
was trying to
pieces.
get
So
to.
the idea is, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to safely get it down
Yeah.
to just where now I know what we're messing with. These three pieces,
Right.
you get rid of that outline. What you have is you have a red shape, white shape, and then a red shape, okay?
Right.
Now, if we take a look at that original logo here, and we grab one
Yeah.
of these little C's that she built, now take a look what she did. This is
Did so
kick-ass. This is kick-ass. Now, just guys, take a look what she did. This is what we're talking about, because it's a bit of a puzzle. I don't know how
That
she got
one's
there.
super complicated. The one below is like the
That's
most
the best.
simplified
Now watch, I'm
version.
just gonna go through this to show you how she's thinking here. Okay,
Okay.
there's a lot to play with,
No,
but
this made me so crazy. Yeah.
now check
for
it
it.
out. There is no right and no wrong way to do this, but the thinking that she's doing that's so, you know, it's great, is she's using the simple shapes. Now watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this really fast. Red shape. I'm gonna lay a white box over it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is that one half. Let's go grab one of those things out of that little crusty one I grabbed. There it is. Okay, now check it out. We
That
just
was
want, we want to build that thing. Okay, so here it is. Now I'm going to go fast, but I'm going to show you what I'm building so you know, we can just understand why this is brilliant. Okay, now watch. So we can see what we're messing with here. I'm going to color this one a light blue so we can see what we're playing with. Okay, so there it is. Now to get that dot, well, just grab this one and hold Command Option Shift and drag it over, bring it to the front, scale it down a little bit, because now it's aligned with that top circle. There it is. Now to get to this bottom piece right here, this is going to get a little weird, but watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go real fast. Command C, Command F. I'm going to bring it to the front. I'm going to give it a different color. We'll give it like a green. I'm going to bring in another white circle. There it is. Now remember, all that is resting now up above that. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to try to mimic that little shape right there. And we're just going to go real barracuda. Watch. Bam, bam. Where that one lines up. Come on, line up. There it is. And we're gonna mask it into this. So we're gonna grab the green and the white, grab the white shape above, Command 7, and that masks it in. So now what we see what we're messing with here, what we see what we're messing with is, check it out. When I go and bring this over to the side here now, and I isolate this thing down to the white,
Mask.
we make that little red, that's the green, that's the white laying over the green. We're gonna make that red again. Now we can start to sort of massage it, but watch what we're doing. We're massaging it within the realm of those nice circles and stuff, right? So if we want that thing to have a different angle, you know, to try to get this, look at that weird little angle right there. Okay, let's go try to mimic that little angle. There it is. And now we want this circle to be, let's just say, just a smidge bigger. Well, you just bring it up a little bit bigger, and there you go. So now when we take a look at that, you know, it's not quite there, but the idea is now go grab a little arrow so you can see what you're messing with. Now before I do anything, now watch this. I'm going to save this thing this way. There's this DDC 20 Making Midwest Terry. Bam. Okay. We're going to put Amy. It's Amy, right?
Yeah.
All right, Amy. Okay. There's some Amy. Okay, look at us. Okay. Now that thing is saved to the desktop. It's got a clean name. It works with the one for Terry, and we've got some order amongst the chaos there. Now what we're going to go do is just go. We've got all these parts and pieces there. Now go and shear these things off, right? So, you know, this is your final step to go have something to play with now. So when we go to this one, and we're keeping track of all these little pieces, let's just go, because that one's just let's just go do something like this. Cool. Now, grab the red circle and the white circle, or the white bar, or the white rectangle laying over it, and subtract minus the front. There it is. Now that little piece is done. That piece is done. And then to get this little piece out of that little guy, we just go into here and we're going to do a Pathfinder divide. There it is. And now what we've got is we've got these 3 pieces, right? There they are. Group them, right? Command C. And now lay it over this piece right here to get that crete. I know exactly that thing you're talking about there. That's a great one. And then lay them in there. And the idea is, listen, you know, what does she have to do with concrete? I don't know. Me either. I don't know what I'm doing with concrete. But by removing yourself, whether or not it's cool, whether she was driving out there, she saw this thing, rebuilt it. This is how I learned, you guys. This is how I learned. And I know it's like crazy, but like I've seen kids, like I said, rebuild the Coke can. I did that too, and it was beautiful. You know, I mean, frankly, the little Starbucks here on this overpriced tea, you could go build that in 20 minutes if you understand the base shapes, how to work within the circle, you know, how to overlap things, and then, you know, using the Command D to, you know, dupe and dupe and dupe and dupe. Okay. So Amy, was that helpful?
Yeah, very much so. When you were building the triangle for the masking,
Yes.
did you just use the line tool to do that?
Yeah. So what I was doing,
Okay.
just to go over it one more time so we all understand, I was just kind of doing an eyeball. Okay. So we'll start over again. We'll do a green. I'm going to do Command C, Command F, and get a white circle up above it. I'm going to bring it down a little bit smaller. Now that white is just resting over that green. See, right? Now, to get that little pie shape, there's lots of ways you could do it, but I came off of the center.
Oh, the pen tool. Okay.
Pen tool, sorry. And
Yeah,
then just, now watch what I'm doing. I'm making sure it's aligned there. And now I'm gonna go, now check it out. Remember what we were talking about last week? Click this point, Aaron Draplin, 46 years old, always learning. Command J, bam! Who screams in workshops? Ah! I'll do whatever I want. You can't do that in your apartment, can you, Brigida? You can't do that.
I can't do it at this brewery that I'm sitting outside of.
Don't,
I might
Amy,
get attacked.
you were thrown out of there last week when you drank so much and the next morning you threw up blood. We're not having that shit go down again. I know it's Saturday night. It's Saturday night's right for fighting and all that shit. It's not happening. Okay, children, we're getting academic here. Now watch. You grab all of it. All this is that there's that little pizza pie over that thing. Grab all of it, Command 7, and now we're just looking at this thing. But what's cool about it is inside there, if you scale this little guy, it's still scalable. You're using those parts and pieces. But see, after a while, it can get away from you to where you're like, you forget how to, you know, and remember, the idea here is with a couple simple moves, you can rebuild anything. And then when you get comfortable rebuilding stuff, then you can start to design that way. Because really all it is, check it out, you guys. If I came back to this and the client said, no, it needs a longer little C stem there or something, we would grab another one like this, keep track of all of our moves, right? And then come to this thing and say, okay, you just like it, we just want it to go longer. Look at this. There it is, longer.
Yeah.
It's done that quick. And yet everything else in that thing is perfectly precise, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thinking here. Okay, so I'm going to save this one, Amy. Thank you. Hope that was helpful.
Yeah, really.
On the road, 10 and 2.
Or just one.
You know, okay. Let me see here. I'm going to go grab someone else's. Okay, let me see here. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, I'm hoping to find something that we can kind of say, okay, this one needs a little bit of work. Now, let me see here. I saw Jack come flying in. Okay, here, where's Jack's? Jack. I
sent a new link because that one was the wrong one. It's down.
I think I saw it. There it goes. Okay. You need access. Let me see here. Because I'm gonna be getting 1,000 emails from Google Play or whatever the hell the next 3 weeks. You need access. How can we get that thing, Jack? Where you just send me? How do I get the? Oh man. A request was sent, Jack.
I will confirm it. Give me a second.
While we're waiting for that, Aaron, a quick question that we had from Cameron. Cameron wants to know, how did you grab just a portion of that image whenever you were referencing just that letter C?
Okay. While I've got you guys here, I'm going to grab this little Velveteen here. Now this one, I don't really even know. There's a couple ways to do it. Now inside, this is in Photoshop, you guys, right? So in Photoshop, you can do this. You can make your little marching ants around it, Command C, Command V, that lifts it up. There it is, right? Now that's in Photoshop. But the problem is if we bring this thing into Illustrator, okay, and we're in there and I can't, so here's what you do. If I've got something in there and I'm just trying, this works on anywhere on your screen. It's going to take me a second to get the key commands down, but it's Shift Control Command. Wait. Now I don't know it because I'm under the gun. It's a way of doing screen grabs, you guys. And there's a way. Just wait. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. Shift Control Command 4. This little guy comes up. Anything you take a grab of, watch. That's in your. Now when you go Command V, this thing now is in your clipboard. Let's do it again. Okay. Everyone, hold Shift Control Command and then hit 4. And this little cursor comes up. I'm just going to grab the little V here. See? It's going to make a little camera sound. And that comes out. It's in your clipboard. And then you've got one little piece at a low resolution, right? So what I'll be doing when I'm web surfing here, you know, I'm web surfing here and I found this Crete carrier here, right? And what I don't want to do is I don't want to drag something in that's, you know, that's going to be a link that I have to go and answer to and download and put it away somewhere later on, whatever the hell. I do the Shift Control Command 4 from my Google, bring it over into Illustrator, Command V. There's all the stuff I'm looking at in my other monitor, right? And that thing is now, if you just check it out over here in your links, that thing is embedded instantly, right? It's embedded. So that means there's nothing to link to it. And that's dangerous because it's bringing it in at like, 72 points or whatever. It's a screen grab. So camera, does that make sense? So check it out. You guys do a screen grab of this, okay? What was it? Shit. Let me see here. Shift, Control, Command, and 4, okay? So what that does, that is just the little one that does this. See, it took a picture of that. Now check it out. If you hit Shift, Control, Command 3, it takes a picture of your entire screen. Watch this. There's the screen I just took a picture of. And that's Shift, Command 3. So, you know, these are little tips and stuff. I use them all the time, right? So someone take a picture of this. This takes a picture. Takes a screen grab of whole screen. And this one takes a screen grab of, call it targeted, I don't know, crosshair or something, okay? So now someone take a screen grab of that and go mess with that later on to learn that little thing, all right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna call this one Cameron. Now watch what I'm gonna do. I'm simply gonna click on DDC20, Making Midwest Workshop Terry. There it is, okay? And now I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna clean this one up nice and clean, Cameron. And we'll share all this stuff later on so you guys can go mess with these things, okay? So there's that one saved, nice and clean. And now we're gonna go find Jack's deal here. Okay, is this it, Jack?
Yeah, I sent the new link. That should be fine.
Okay. Holy shnikes, look at this thing. Oh God, our work is cut out for us tonight. Oh, here we go. We're going into overtime. Son of a beeswax. All right. Okay. Holy shit, you guys. Someone knows. Listen, Jack, are you listening to me?
I am.
Stay out of Portland. I don't need you up here fucking with my stock price. Okay. God. Okay. All right. So this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I mean, it's some kind of a bike shop. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. First things first. I'm noticing a couple things. So let's just talk about what's successful about it, right? So here's the pro tip, you guys. What I'm not going to do is I'm never just going to say, you know, this isn't good or this isn't bad, you know, Emma, no one's crying herself to sleep tonight. I'm your dad. We're going late, Emma. Just sober up and pipe down. Okay. So I can see here something's going on with the type. Now, if I am just going to sort of like, if I'm going to react and say he was eyeballing that stuff, was that right, Jack?
Yeah, I was trying to use the guides, but I was trying to get as close as possible.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Now, did you do it this way by chance, where you make a circle? Because we're just talking purely right now about the Cyclops type, right? Did you make that with a circle and then run it around, or did you like make it piece by piece? Did you make it with a circle?
No, I use the circle.
Okay, cool, cool. Because it looks a little wonky, right?
Mm.
Looks a little off. So what we're going to try to do real quick is we're just going to try to get this thing to where it's like, now that thing looks a little off. So here's how you talk about this stuff. Right now, this is successful for the following reasons, I would say, okay? It's got a cool little eyeball. It's got this one thing happening. There's good sound math going on. This is nice how it's nicely balanced. This feels good over here. Feels a little wonky up here because it might have been the type choice or something, sure. But you can see here, it just feels off. That's a little low, that's a little high, it's a little off. Okay, so successful. It's just a nice, now check it out. It's a nice design. Let me get rid of whatever's in the background here. Let me save this thing as Jack. I'll check it out. Click on Terry there. Save this as a AI file. There it is. And now we've got Jack's stuff, figured out. Okay. Now, first things first. What I dig about it, what I think is successful, it's got a good flow to it. Take a look when it's that size. See it? Like there's good air. Stuff isn't too tight up against it. It's getting a little weird, but that's a good thing, because if that stuff was too tight, that would look weird. And here's the pro tip, just the pro tip for this. At all times when you're working on stuff, at all times, check to see what it's like when it's 30%, we'll just say. Let's do it again. Okay. Brought in as a PDF, so it's getting a little weird. 1 second. Command X, Command F. Now it's its own stuff. Now watch this. I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to double click on my little scale tool down to 30%. And what that does, 25%, whatever you want, it shows you where there might be some problematic areas. Because here's why. If we took this thing yet again and we tried to jam this sucker down into an Instagram, that's what it's going to look like. And there's no way you're going to read that thing, right? So what you might have to do, Jack, is later on, you're just going to have a version that does this. Now watch what I'm doing. I'm going to clean all the riffraff out of there. You won't need that for the little tiny version that goes in the Twitter avatar, or we'll just say the Instagram. But what you might want to do is grab that little eyeball. Where is he at? Let me see. I'm going to do a little bit of a puzzle here. Okay, I'm going to try to grab just the eyeball. Let's isolate it. Let's scale it up. Because all we're doing right now is we're making sure when this thing goes jamming down, you're still getting that kind of feel. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Check it out. We're talking sweatshirt to the hat logo, maybe down to that little Instagram. So now take a look what's happening there. See how you're losing those little zims and zams? You're losing those little guys right there. So maybe what we do is we just go and we ungroup it all. And now we're going to use the orbit real fast. Now this is just about being quick. So watch this. I bring it out. I'm going to bring it down to 1 and as a blue line. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of all this other riffraff. And I'm going to leave, looks like you've got it a little bit staggered, it looks like. So, okay, this one was every 8. Okay, so watch this one. I'm going to give this one just a little more beef. I'm going to grab the line, and I'm going to go 45. Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. Okay, cool. Now, I want to enhance what's happening up above here a little bit, right? So you can see what he's got inside there. He's got one masked inside the next one. Bring that up a little bit. Oh, what has he got going on there? Okay, something. Okay, now what we're doing is we're just trying to enhance this thing a little bit, right? Now go get rid of the other ones real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that, Jack?
No, I was just nothing.
Okay, sorry. Okay. I'll get to your question in a second. I'm just showing you guys how to like refine. Now check this out. Oh, okay. He's got some stuff laying over stuff. Okay, that's okay. We're gonna get rid of these things. So I don't know how he built it. So it's kind of like a little surgery, a little bit of surgery, right? Now watch. There's gonna be a couple things I'm gonna do. Okay, we've got this one. We're gonna make sure it's all grouped. What we got going on here? Okay, let me see. There it is. And that thing is laid over that thing. Let's just group that thing. There it is. Command G. Now bring that to where you kind of dig it. There it is right there. Now grab one of those out there. And how many did you have on that thing? What was that? Every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoa, wait, 6. So every 30. Okay. Now do the double click. 30 degrees. Copy. Command D. 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 And then put them all back behind. Those are the little tire nubs or whatever. Remember, those are grouped, so they work well with each other. Command G, put them back behind there. Now just take a look at what I'm doing. Now watch. Now from there to there, when we go back out to where we're going to really look at these things, see how it still has the same little bit of feel as this?
Yeah.
Now watch what I'm going to do one step further. Okay, let me go grab a little arrow here. Let me see here. Let me just shit out a little arrow. Look how gross this is going to be. Let me see. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Why is it doing that? I don't know. Well, it won't let me make an arrow, so we're just going to do this. So we can at least see where we're going at all times, right? You guys make an arrow however you want to do it. So we just know where we started, where we went. Now, if when we were talking last week about making notes, here's, now just check out what I'm gonna do. It gets nerdy, but there's a reason why. So watch this. Okay. Original down to 30%, call it, right? Okay. Now just give this something so you can read it, right? Yeah. Now we're gonna do it again. Now what we did there is what we call is we optically adjusted. We're just keeping track of our stuff. Optically adjust spokes and nubs. Okay. Now we're gonna go do it one step further, because what happens is when it's small like this, we're starting to turn it into just one dark shape. So instead, what I want you to do now is we're going to adjust the tones just a little bit. And what I mean by that is when we zoom in on this, we're going to go and we're going to grab some of these values here. Just take a look at what he's got. Okay, he's got some. I'm just going to bring this down a little bit, right? We'll match that one to this. But you can see what I'm doing. We're trying to get these things so they all feel like they can bounce off each other properly, right? So we want that, we want that, we want that, and I'll show you why in a sec. Because what this does, it gives it that, see what happened there?
Mm-hmm.
It gives it a little more weight at the smaller angle. It gives it a little bit more just value to bounce off each other versus the alter. When you squint your eyes, it just looks like a one kind of color. Mm-hmm. Same thing here. These are the tiny little things to do, okay? Now, first of all, what was your question about this?
I just wanted to know how to fix the type up top.
Okay.
That's the main question I got.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab another arrow here so we just know where we're going. We're gonna grab all the goods here, bring them over, and then we're just gonna get rid of this stuff because it's just kind of, it's kind of messing with us right now, right? Okay. Because what we're going to do is we're going to start over. Okay, we're going to go grab one circle, the known. There it is, right there. Command C, Command F, bring it to the front. There's your orbit X, Command F, give it something that you can work with. Okay, and now we're going to work off of that thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab this little circle again, Command C, Command F. That's copy and then paste in place, Command F. I'm going to scale it down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go click on the little type tool that's called Type on a Toolpath. I'm going to click it. I'm going to put in Cyclops. Now it's real small. And listen, I have never figured out how to use this damn thing the right way. It's always a beast. You just got to go with it. So you're going to grab this middle thing right here and bring it up to the top here. We're going to color it the red. And now we're going to get to work on this. So I'm going to bring this thing up. I'm going to give it a little bit of love. Now watch, see these little zims and zams right here? This is where it starts to get weird. You touch one, it affects the other. So I always try to keep it in simple places like right there. Now bring the other one over right to about yay, okay? Now that's looking a little weird. So what you got to go do is you got to lay your cursor in there between that. You could back my van between that Y and C. And you just got to give it a little bit of love to eyeball it just a little bit. Now check it out. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go make the bike shop. I'm doing this in Helvetica Bold just for the sake of being fast. Command C, Command F, color it something else, green, so we can see what we're working with. Now what we're going to do is we're going to scale this up a little bit. We're going to bring this back in. Check it out. Grab the middle bar. It never works. There it is. Okay. See, you lift up, it goes to some other wonky place. It's just a pain in the ass. But that's, we'll get there. There it is. Now just grab your rotate tool, hold shift, and rotate it back around to the 180. Now, double click on all the type. Use your little eyedropper tool to get that red. And mainly what you're doing is you're getting the same size type and the same size red. Now we're going to go bike shop, and we're going to take a look at where we're at. Okay. Now take a look. Now let's grab that blue orbit and let's just pull it out so we're just a ways from it. So we're not like chewing on it. Let's get rid of this other stuff. Because you could, whatever typeface that was before, you can go figure that out, with your other stuff. Now here's the thing. Right now, it's a little too far out. It's just, it's a little too big. When you grab the 1 and the 2 and that orbit and you scale this down, it's scaling it off of the orbit. And we'll get it right to about yay and say, okay, cool. Now, that's how I would do it. Now, yes, there's some wonky stuff going on up here, but you just got to go and just sort of like eyeball it, How you do that is you hit Option, you click right here between the L and the O, hit Option, back arrow, and it'll gently, I've got mine at 3 little tiny points or whatever they are, little degrees, just to really current and track stuff. But some things are just going to be rough. They're just going to be rough. To work with because of the geometry of the typeface, right? So does that answer your question there, Jack?
Yes, thank you.
All right, man. So, all right, cool. Well, here's what I would say, man. First of all, I don't know what you got going on over here, but these feel killer. This feels like something I would pay way too much money for at Whole Foods right now, and then eat the whole goddamn box and feel bad about myself the rest of the night. A little bit too much information. How do I turn this thing off and go talk to all the children? How do I do it? Where do I touch? What do I do?
The bottom, I think it's on the bottom there, the screen share button. It just looks like a little screen with a slash through it, maybe. Could be at the bottom, could be at the top, it might be on the side. I honestly have no idea.
Oh, okay. And now I'm getting mean, I'm getting mad. We're already into overtime. How do I get back to the children? What is this? This is something that's people, recording, organizer. Everything's new. Is this it right here? No, my screen, options. I really don't. It's different. It's different again. Where do you click the damn thing to go back off of sharing the screen?
I know, like I'm using their app, and I know it's at the bottom there, but I'm not sure if it's on the bottom for.
Not quite seeing it on the bottom here. Let me try it. It's going. God, who the hell knows? Way to go to meeting. You know, way to go. Go to hell. That's where we're changing the name of this thing to go to hell. You know, Jesus Christ. Okay, I don't know how to do it, so that's awesome. Maybe someone knows how to do it. Share something else. No.
Yes. Let me take away ability from you real quick, and then I'm gonna give it right back.
You guys,
Um,
I'm getting older. I'm getting older with every mouse click. I'm sitting here. I could go any minute. And look at my face already. Look at, I'm growing. There, Jesus. Christopher. Okay, can you see me? Or is it still on the screen?
you can probably see my screen now.
Oh, God.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna pass it back to you now.
Well,
All right,
yeah,
here we
but
go.
now, okay, is that, can you see me?
Yep.
Okay. That was great. 20 minutes later. Okay. Children, you know, here's the thing. Like with Jack's thing, what I tried to show there was, first of all, how to do that type and get it so it's like, you know, you can go and mess with it. But the couple things to think about there is just the idea of things this big and things this big. Now tonight, with a critical eye, and you guys, Brigitte, you've heard this shit from me, I'm sure, before. But tonight, go to your Twitter, or go to your, or even more extreme, go to your Instagram and take a look at how people jam the logo down into those tiny little things. And what you're going to try to learn is basically where people went a little off. You know what I'm saying? They were a little wrong. Like, go and just take a look, because it's, I don't want to say they're being lazy. What they're doing is they're using the UI functionality of what the program allows you to do, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best decision, you know? So I know this is weird, but like my DDCs across the gamut, they're all different, because the DDC that happens on that little tiny Instagram, it's been like optically schmoptically messed with so the things don't mesh together. So the grays come off of the oranges properly, you know, so things don't kind of like warble and stuff. And then when you get up to like my maybe Facebook level, that's probably the purest thing, because it's this big versus Twitter versus tiny little Instagram, right? Tonight, with a critical eye, just go and take a look at how people do that and be amazed at how many people screw it up. And then go look at your app store on iTunes or whatever platform you're looking at. And what you're going to see is how people are forced to make good decisions. And you're going to see how they use the space, and they don't have to put their whole name. Like, check it out, that Cyclops Bike Shop. He doesn't have to put Cyclops Bike Shop in there. Only needs to put the eyeball. It's such a kick-ass eyeball. So if we go back to that, okay, how do I share my screen? Can you guys see that? Now check it out. If we go back to this thing, now watch. I'm going to go to my little, I don't even use this thing anymore, but I'm going to do a Shift Control Command 4 on my little Twitter, which I rarely use. Only when people die. Regis Philbin died. Damn it. I'll tell you guys a funny story about Regis Philbin in just a second. A true life adventure. Now watch what I'm going to do. Just to go take a look at what he's messing with here. That eyeball is pretty sweet. We're just going to try to reduce that thing down, right? There it is. Just get the eyeball. We don't want all the little nubs and spokes and shit. That might be enough right there with those cool little lines and stuff. I don't know. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go try to mock up what this thing looks like here. So I'm going to put something behind it. Maybe that red. And this is, you know, when old Cyclops says, hey, we got a bike sale. Like, what kind of bike do I need? What kind of air pressure do I need in that tire? Because you just know the moment I walk across that threshold, the dudes are elbowing each other and going, we're going to have to get the big ones. Don't let that guy sit on a bike. That kind of shit. I know the look. I know the look. I know the look when I come on an airplane and just walk on there and go, and the first guy's going, yeah, he's sitting next to me from Portland to Boston, 6.5 hours. And I get some Wilford Brimley MAGA motherfucker sitting there just like, I'm taking the middle. You know, he's using the things. I know how to handle that shit. I know how to handle myself. You know how you do it? You become a Delta Diamond flyer and you never go back in the back anymore with all the circus animals and hay and chickens and shit. And you get upgraded to all the first class. And then when you're up there, you got the guy next to you named Steve vetting you, saying, should you be up? Giving you that kind of shit, all day long. Because I'm there working on my laptop, colorful things. And Steve kind of looks over and goes, so what is it that you do? Now, Steve's over there, counting bullshit on his bullshit, on his Dell bullshit, whatever, 3000. And I'm sitting there working on riffraff, colorful and things and stuff. But Steve's checking out just to see what I do. And I say, Steve, I'm in vectors. And yes, I'm supposed to be in seat 2B, whatever it is. They're just checking. They're just checking. So anyway, that's true life story. Okay, back to this. Okay, now look at, when we take this little thing and we jam it down and we put it here just to see what it feels like. Tonight, go and look at that. Because you're going to see how he doesn't even need to use the spokes, right? That's enough right there. That's enough to take us back. If that thing said Cyclops Bike Shop, that's enough to get that cool little single eye. And that's the kind of decision making, because if it comes down to this later on, there's a t-shirt. He reduces it down to a cool patch, let's just say. So we have a t-shirt now. Well, t-shirt and a patch. And then on the Twitter, this is the stuff that it takes to go and make it work for each little application, right? Okay, I'm gonna close this one up and I'm gonna go grab one more before I show a couple new tips and tricks. Let me see here. Okay, who's the lucky little youngster here? Okay, let me see here. Okay, I'm going back. Where Emma? Was it Emma? We need you to sleep tonight, Emma. Okay, I'm clicking on your Google Drive. There it is. Holy shit! Look at this thing. What in the hell am I supposed to say about how? Oh my God. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna download it and get rid of this Velveteen crap. Look at this. Anyone want to get a real cheap? That's coming. Okay, look at how cool this is, you guys. I don't know what I'm supposed to say about this. So Emma, turn your thing on. Uh-oh, it's not quite. Okay, look at this cool thing. Okay, turn your thing on and talk to me, youngster.
It's basically just a drawing I made in Procreate, and I wanted to challenge myself to do it in Illustrator and use the center flip trick to build it out.
Yeah. I mean, do you need help with anything? Because it's pretty cool.
I struggled a little bit, I guess, with just the layout, but I'm kind of liking it now that I'm seeing it again.
Absolutely, it's really, really. Here's what I would say is, my eye goes to instantly this kind of stuff. Now I'm just going to grab it. I'm just going to kind of, rough it up just a smidge. So I'm going to save this one here. This is Emma, who's going to sleep like a little lamb tonight.
I really am.
You ought to hear me sleep. It's like a fucking Husqvarna on a chainsaw. It's so gross. Just snoring and wheezing and drooling all. This thing's just, you could just wring it out and get like a little Dixie cup and take a little slam in the middle of the night with all the drool. Okay, now, children, if we're working off this little guy right here and she's got her bar, we're going to center off that little thing. What's cool about this is, the idea is this. It's like, as you're going through, like, this is the background back here. I can tell. That's cool. Let's just get rid of that. And let's put it on another layer so we have it back behind there so we can see what we're working on. Lock it, and then go back and work on this thing so we can reduce. The idea is this. When you have this thing, and these things are all different parts and pieces, it looks like. Okay, sorry. Once you're comfortable. See, what's cool about this is it's not some geometric thick line crap that I like. It's weird and wiggly and tricked out and stuff. But the things to look for are this, is like, when you're talking about the layout, I'm just trying to isolate this little psychedelic shroom here, whatever the hell you got going on. Let me see here. See, what happens is when it comes in with the PDF, it's in a million parts and pieces and gets a little wonky. So 1 second, guys, sorry. Why is it going to that? I don't know. Okay, so there it is. Here's that piece. Now we're just going to group that, because check it out. If we go and we grab these things now, and there's those 3 parts, here's the one little toad, little mushroom. Here's the other one. And we grab 1, 2, 3, Command C, Command F, grab the bar below, go to your properties tool and flip that thing. You can start to see, okay, cool, cool. But I don't like the space right here, right? That space is a little bit big. So before I go do that, maybe I'll just do something like this, grab it all, or just go back, you know, and bring this thing over a little bit and say, all right, let's just angle it in. Let's put your little rotate tool, click on the bottom here and zoom in just a little smidge. And now do it again. Command C, or sorry, grab these 3, Command, and check it out. Now this is, you know, the world is your sort of oyster. You guys can do whatever you want, right? Like when you grab these things now and flip it over, you can just start to see the relationship. That's a nice little distance right there. That's a nice little distance right there. That distance is a little bit weird right there, right? So now while it's back on the other side, maybe we grab this thing and say, okay, let's bring it up just a little bit. Nice, 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 etc. Right? There's a little something there. But what you're doing is you're using the properties in a quick way. Command C, Command F, grab that stuff, flip it over, and you're just making quick decisions. So this is a killer design. It's awesome. I mean, my inclination, and this is just me being, you know, the like flat shape weirdo that I am, is to go through and strip it of all the outlines and see what happens. How do you do that? Come on now. And just get rid of all, because then it's just flat shape. So let's see if we can do this real quick. And not rely on that outer shape. So let's say select same stroke color. There it is. And go to nothing now. And just see what happens when it's this weird kind of flat shape, because you know that's the wonder of Illustrator. Just this quick to go and plop these things in there and say, oh, come on now. How that, I don't know what's happening over here. What did I do wrong? But see how what that just did there? Okay, now here's okay. Now if you globally screw things up, here's how I always do this. I grab all this junk out of here. I can make a new document. I plop it in there. Okay, I go back to the old document here. Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. There it is. Get rid of this stuff. Go grab this thing. Command C, bring it back. And you've got your little thing, you know, the next little, because you know something happened in that process. I thought it locked, but see how it changes the tone there just a little bit, and that's just a tiny little thing you can do at all times when you're working on a logo. Okay, so remember last week when I was, you know, let me see here, let me go find, let me see here, let me see here about how quick it is. Just making Midwest. What is this? Oh, and look at baby's feet. Oh, cute little feet. Someone named Emma. Oh, Matt. Okay. Last week when we were messing around with that shadow thing, you know, the idea that like if we're just going to make a quick, and I'm just going to go fast. Okay. I'm going too fast. Let's see here. Okay. Now just watch what I'm going to do here. Now this is going to go into a little bit of a pro tip. From number 1 to number 2, from just 1. This is just a piece of type. Let's just go up here. Let's go from left over to the right. Be a little bit easier to show. Now, you know what this allows you to do is just flip it around real quick. Put an outline on it. That's a little bit different feel than this right here, right? And it's like, okay, now just by putting that outline, you get some weird little points right there. So go click on it, hit your option, and then scooch it out a little bit, right? And that's a whole different feel just from there to there, right? Now let's go do it again. Or maybe it's something like this. We just take the shapes and say, okay, we're just gonna take the shapes and maybe, I mean, these are really rudimentary things, but it's like, let's just go put Emma, are you there with me?
I'm with you.
Favorite color?
Purple.
Oh God, these children these days. Look at, I'm the client. There's a pro tip there. That's what she's into. No crying from Aaron Draplin. Because what we're going to do is we're just going to go grab and put a little bit of lineage in there real quick, right? we're gonna grab that thing. We're gonna make all, these are all just shapes. So we'll keep track of what we've got above here. There it is. The black shapes over the little bars. And now we're gonna go and we're gonna make sure that that's all one piece right there. So by how you do that is you go lots of different ways. You can go unite or Command 8. And now Command 7. And you've got a little bit of type, just a little bit of a bar inside there. So let's go bring that thing down so we've got good contrast. And bring this one up. And what you're doing there is you're just messing with it just a little bit to get it to, so it feels like they can all kind of work together, right? So they bounce off each other. Because just in that time from there to there, that thing changed a whole bunch. You guys, this is the exact same way with the logo, right? It's the exact same way. So now if we go and we mess with that little, now here's my little, oh, where'd it go? Subscribe, stylism, block shadow panel. And we go and we mess with that little block shadow thing where we say, okay, there's the purple, and we're gonna go put a little bit of a shadow on it. There it is. And the color of that shadow is gonna be, let's just say a dark purple. And then we can go and we can mess with the angle. Check it out. There's a whole nother way, and then now you mess with the little angle. Remember, this is called Astute Graphics. If you guys didn't check that out or did, there it is at, just about straight at 270. Awesome. There's another way you do it. Keep track of that one. And then now before you go, because this might affect, let's see if this affects just this one. I'm learning how to use this tool. Awesome. Okay, so now when you go to this one, let's just go to where we get it to where we like it, off to this side. And just in that amount of time, that's a little weird over there, that little space right there. There you go. Just in this amount of time, we've got 5 different versions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll just say. This is why Illustrator is so magical to me, because whatever's appropriate for what we're working on, be it a logo, be it a sketch, be it whatever, when it's just flat shapes and there's quick little things to do to it, I mean, this blows my mind. Now check it out. Let's go do it again. Let's get weird for a second. Let's go do this Emma, and let's go and just make it a round line. On the first dash, go 0, and then go 5. You can put little dots, right? And then color that purple. And there's another little version right there where it's just these sort of dots. But you can see it gets a little weird because the way the typeface is built, it's a little crusty. So you can see where it just gets a little weird on these little points and parts right here. So what you want to do is, there's little tricks for that. When you create this in there, you go to outlines. Now you can go and you can kind of control it to where, when you put it on the little lines, dashes to corners and path ends, you can see where those things start to feel a little bit better, right? So, all right. So back to the question here. What was the question again? Just about, you were talking about layout?
This looks amazing. Thank you so much. I guess I just wanted to have your eyes on it to see what you would do differently. And I love the flat look. I'm gonna steal it.
Okay, well, first of all, remember, this is all within your realm. I mean, the idea is just about going quick, right? And by using really simple shapes, like if we take a circle here and we put everything inside that circle, and then we extend this little turquoise piece, and we extend that little black little scrubba lubba lubba dooba dooba, whatever that is there. Okay, there it is. And now we have a little sticker happening here or something, whatever that is. The power of a shape. Remember we were talking about the power of a shape, how it just can give something a little bit more clarity. That just gives this thing a home, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now check it out. Let's go get that little piece of type. And let's get one here that just feels like, okay, maybe it's this little guy right here. And we say, okay, so what are the colors? And then for the shadow, maybe it's this color right here. And then the shadow is that kind of orangey, cool orange color. And then just put this thing right along here. And she's built herself a little sticker or something, See, I'd put that sticker in my field notes. some trip
Go.
hop psychedelic. How do you turn off the screen? Who knows? Who even cares? I don't even know how to. Okay.
We can still see you even though
Oh.
you're sharing.
Oh, just because I'm small inside the thing?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
smaller than you'd normally be, but we still
cool.
see you.
You know, so you know, here's what I would say. Just first of all, okay, going back to where we started today. What's successful about this thing is it's really charming and cool, and there's good craft, and everything's looking good. The only thing I would see unsuccessful, just work on the distances a little bit. And really, the way to test that stuff is just to do something kind of like this. At all times, go plop in something in there that's a little bit weird, just so you can see a quick little measurement, and just check your distances at all times to see how those things, you know, feel. Because when, you know, like when you see like Dana Tamagotchi's work, if you put circles down, you will see the same circle all across the boards. And that's a tiny little thing of just how to space things, that sort of harmony. And so that's the only thing I would say was unsuccessful. Other than that, it's cool as shit. I'm proud of you. You know, remember, you can go crazier lines on this stuff or go down to flat shapes. I mean, it's, you know, it's really up to you. I'm going to save this thing. Okay, we got this thing saved. Okay. Okay, now let me see here. I'm going to go take a look at my little syllabus here and make sure that we are cool. One second. There's something I want to show you guys. Okay, Midwest. All right. Okay. We're not even halfway done. That's all I'm going to say. But Jacek, I know you wanted to go out to the Freedom Fest where no one's wearing the mask, people are making out and all that. I know, but you're not doing it tonight. I'm going to save your life and all your people and your family. Okay, let me see here. What was I doing with my life? There it is. And then okay. All right. Emma. Okay. Let me show you guys a couple tips and tricks. Okay. Now, people ask me all the time about thick lines. Okay, thick lines, and they're always saying, you know, well, why, you know, whatever. And it's like, this is what I was working on today. And listen, this is rudimentary. I mean, I'm just starting. So this it went from my sketch. And if you want to see my sketch, here's what my sketch looked like. I was laying in bed last night, you know, and it's like, all right, I'm just doing this little thing here, little sketch. I'm just starting to put the parts and the pieces in there. But the idea is this: later on, when I make that little D, and I'm just going to go real quick to show you. When you think a little bit differently about what you're actually going for and what you're aiming for, that's kind of the idea here. It's like, I want to do a thick line thing, sure. And I want to, you know, have a thick shape and then a little line above it. And the thinking is this: if I'm going to make that little D shape there, this little guy right here, I'm just going to get rid of these parts and pieces for now and bring this over. Okay, so there's the little D shape I was kind of thinking, but now check it out. Now here's the deal. This right now is just this. That's all that is, right? So now, in talking about last week, if you think about it like this, if you get it to a nice round number, now right now, this is going to look a little thick for a second. I'm going to get it to 36 points. That's a little thick, so I'm going to just bring it up a little bit bigger. Why you're doing this is you want it to be at a nice round number of math, right? There it is. That looks about right, 36 points. Now watch this one. If we want 2 lines, it's as simple as this. Bring it up here above. I'm going to grab a little arrow on my symbols palette. What I'm going to do is simply this: Command C, Command F, color it something weird. We'll color purple, pink right now so you can see it. Right now it's at 36 point. Now bring it down to 12 point. Now what you just did there is, now if we were to look at this line on the edge, you've got like this, right? 12 points of pink, 12 points of black again. which equals 36 points, right? Because we just simply laid a, there it is. We just laid a line, Command Y is your outline. We laid a white line over it. And now you've got this quality of like, that made 2 lines with 1 shape, right? So if we do it again, let's keep track of where we're going here. Now watch this one. We'll do it again. This is where my mind was. Let's just bring it down to something like 4 points. And there it is. And then we keep track of ourselves and say, okay, so it's 4 points minus 32 is, that would be 16, 4, 16, which equals 36. So that right there, this value right here is 16 points, and that's 16 points, and the little white line is 4 points. And that's simply by just laying a line up above it, right? Now let's do it again. Now check this out. Is this interesting, children? I hope so. I'm trying. Mitch, I love every bit of you. I'm trying. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I want 3 lines now. Now, this is an optical illusion. It's just a white line over a big, thick black line. But if I want 3 lines to see, so what we're going to do is we're going to think about the math here, and we're going to go up to something like, I don't know, 27 or something. We'll say 24 even, 24. That's the white line. Now go grab the white line, go Command C, Command F, bring it back to black, and bring it down to like, say, 16 points. And see what you're doing here? You're just getting this thing to where it's, okay, let's go 12 points. Let's go 8 points for the first line. Lock that one, Command 2, grab the one below it, bring that up, and there it is right, I think it's right there. And now what you've got is you've got, with 3 lines laying over the top of each other, you've got 8, 4, so it looks like this. If my math is right, it's 8, then a 4 gap, and then an 8, then a 4 gap, and then an 8. And that is the, it's something like that. I don't know. You see what I'm getting at though? By controlling it this way, you can go infinitely. So anything you draw for that matter. And then you go through and let's just say we go up to 12 points. Command C, Command F, lay a white line up above it and bring it down a little bit. You're getting the same feel there, just with whatever line, it's just simply laying up above it. So that is the thick line sort of trick, okay, of just how to layer these things and how to think that way. So when you see this stuff, when I go do a search for some of my junk, thick lines, oh, I don't know what we're going to get in this one here. You know, let's just see. That was definitely built that way, right? There it is. I mean, I've done this thing so many times. Those were built that way. But when you get to the point where you're starting to refine it, that's where, you know, that was definitely built that way, right? So you guys have seen this stuff before. You know, it's not really any big, you know, but check it out. Thick lines, logos. That's how, it's hard to see. Sorry, it's over here. A T and a L. See, these are like, that's how they're built. So what that is that's just the idea of just trying to get you guys to think just a smidge differently about how and what this thing can do. What, you know, what these you can't do that on your page, you know, but you can do it quickly inside here, and that's really interesting to me. So that's, I've seen people rebuild it point by point with offsets and things and stuff. You can build it that quick and then control it all the way through. And if you understand the math with a nice round number, let's say your number is 50 minus 8 minus 2 minus 8 minus 2, etc. You just got to figure out the math, and you can have that thing have 10 lines if you want, right? There's all sorts of little plugins to use for that shit too, and that, you know, I don't know if that necessarily always works. Okay, now here's something to think about. We're just going to go do this one real quick. Now, if you guys remember, you know, now here we go. It's her emails or whatever the hell it is. I know, you know, it's her email. Here we go with the H word. Well, my name is Aaron Draplin, and I voted for Hillary because she actually would have done a good job. She was actually a nice person who gave her whole life to politics, and then they made her a demon or whatever the hell it was. But no, because a bully came and kicked her ass off to the side. I mean, oh, what a horrific deal. Was she corrupt? Of course, they all are. Anywho, Remember the button that said I'm with her? Well, I saw that button and I saw this, and it was just gross. Now watch. I'm with her. And we'll go get that. I think it was their typeface was here was her typeface. It's called Gilroy. So remember all this? This just makes me sad. But here's a true life story. I had a friend who worked for Mr. Obama from 2012 to 2016, and he helped work up to the 2012 election for about a year and a half. So about 2010 up to 2012, he worked on that election and then worked freelance after that. And about 2014, he called me and he said, my contact is working for Hillary now, right? And Draplin, they're interested in you coming to be their design director. And I just said, Benghazi. No, I didn't. I'm just lying. I just went, what does that mean? And he said, you have to move to Brooklyn, and you would live in Brooklyn at her headquarters for the next, 2 years for the cycle. And I didn't even try for it. But what I did do is I reached out to the guy and just said, hey, if you guys need any help with bumper stickers or whatever, that they had a whole team assembled. But my name was in that little thing. So I like to say that's why she lost the election, because I didn't move to Brooklyn and I screwed it all up for the rest of us. So I'm sorry, you guys. I'll take it on the chin. But you guys remember this, right? I'm with her. Now remember the little, I saw a button. We'll just go make a butt design real quick, okay? So here's a button, a punk rock little 1-inch button. Lee got them or something. She went and got a bunch of signs and shit when we were, and the button looked like this. Now watch. When you just type out I'm with her, quotation, I'm, right on down the line, and then you bring it into the thing, you center it, and then you go and you just say, well, let's stack it a little bit. Look what it does. See what it does right there? See how shitty that looks? I saw this button. Maybe it was a regional thing. Maybe it was whatever. But all it needs to do is this. When you go do this, there's the original. You just got to jam this in a little bit. 1, 2, 3. See it? Because that's what you're doing is you're not necessarily centering. I'll color this something else so you can see it. You're not centering those guys. That math is now, all you're centering is the blue. And that's what we're talking about. If you do it one more time, check it out. Now you're going to see it really get weird here for a second, but I'll show you the way, you're supposed to kind of do it. Now, that looks pretty good, the with her, but see how the I'm's a little wonky? So go put another space there. There it is. That's what it should have looked like properly. Now, that broke my heart because, listen, I know they're going fast. I know how fast the Obama people are going, but that's a real thing. And really what I would do is I would go do this. If they had to have the quotations in, I would bring them down tiny little sweet ones, right? And just jam them in there so you're not even really noticing them. And that's the kind of thinking here. So tonight, with a critical eye, just look around the world and you'll see where someone just jammed, bam, you know where you see it? You'll see it in, what was the, I was watching Raising Arizona and he says, I don't know, there's Yodas and shit on him. He's talking about the pajamas of the little kid that gets stolen, and the detective says he was wearing pajamas. What was on the pajamas? He goes, I don't know. There's Yodas and shit on it. This is 1986. I don't know. Yodas and shit on them. And I saw it the other night where it was like, I don't know, and check it out. If you just go and you just do this, see it? Sorry. There it is. See it? Now that's the proper math, but here's the pro tip. And there it is. For the rest of your life, when you are centering the stuff, center the words in the type, and then optically build into the quotation mark. That's a pro tip. That one very prickly type teacher showed me in Minneapolis in 1998 and changed the way I work. The reason why this is an easy mistake is because we're allowed just to do this. You know, we're just allowed to type stuff. You know, and there it is, this. But the moment you put a sentence in there with some other stuff, and just nail it and center it, you're going to see this all over the world now. And guess where it's all over? It's all over that fucking Trump campaign. I'll just tell you right now. Just big, dumb, and stupid. Oh, yep, good times. Cool hair. All right, that's a pro tip, you guys. I'm going to save that one. I'll put that in here. I'm going to make everything Helvetica, so it's a nice, simple thing so you guys have got it. And what I mean by that is I go grab the shitty Helvetica, the one that comes with all the machines, just Helvetica, you know? Like you shouldn't even be able to say it fully, just Helvetica, Helvetica. Like I should, Helvetica. Because it just shouldn't, it's just, there it is, just bold, just, there it is, good, clean enough. Okay, I'm gonna save that thing. And I'm gonna say this here is Making Midwest Workshop centering type. So that's another pro tip. And we'll get that to you guys so much way. Okay, does anyone have a question as we come up on the 2-hour mark? Who's got a question? Show your faces.
We have a few questions, kind of a little backlog of them. Let me see here, trying to get something somewhat simple. Melissa has a question of, when flipping objects using the center flip, I had to set an anchor point each time. Is there supposed to be a correct way to do that without having to set the point?
Yes. Let me try to do this real quick for Melissa. Now check it out. It's very simple. Because you're working with, let's just say, right? Okay. And you're working with something, and let's just say here I go getting sweet again. Here I go getting sweet. Every time there's a lowercase I start getting sweet. Uh-oh, here I go again. You know, they're just going, getting in trouble. You know, okay, there's a little something in there. There I go again. But every time I'm building something, if I want this thing flipped back over here, now check it out. Really what the center bar does, if your design is this, it's a square with an outline, and we want your thing to do, you know, I don't know, this, and then we want it to flip over here. By having the center bar, another bar centered with your document, like this, color it anything you want. The idea is if we want this Melissa over here flipped, these two pieces are centered right here. There's no reason why to have to go, you know, use the rotate tool. It's different. It's like what's happening is because you're double clicking the reflect tool, and then you have to center, you have to use that thing that way. Here's how you do this. You grab Melissa, Command C, Command F, that's just resting above it right now. You grab the bar, you go to the properties tool here, right? Hit this flip one time, and it flips it off to the other side. So you're not having to put the center point. To show what that means is if you take it like this and do it something like, now check it out. If we had a line here, there's the center point, there's the center, and we had a line, there's that pink line, and she went and double clicked the reflect tool. So I grabbed the Melissa, I haven't put it, the Command C, Command F yet, and I just double click the reflect. It's asking where to put that point. It's going to ask. And that's, I've just learned now to use, it just does it on that axis, right? When you grab the bar below it, this blue bar below it, you're centering off of that axis, right? See the three of those now are all lined up. You're using this large thing here. So if we did this, and this, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of this, and grab these things like this, Command C, Command F, as long as that bar is larger than the document, we'll call it. We bring this thing down like this. See, okay, we'll do this like this. Command X, get rid of it. We'll keep it inside the document. There it is. Now Command C, Command F, grab the blue bar below and the properties tool, do the little flip, and it flips it back over. So does that make sense? It's just okay, you're not, you know, there's lots of ways to use the precision on that, sorry, the reflect tool. I have never learned to figure it out. That's why I do this. I've seen guys do it at these Illustrator workshops, going too fast for everybody. This is my fail-safe way. It's kind of crusty, but it works. You know what I mean? As long as everything's centered, you're using that stuff there, because now if you take this thing and you say, okay, you know, I don't want just to be straight or whatever, you know, I want to do, get some weird little things going here. And once again, Command C, Command F, grab the blue bar, flip it over, and it's perfectly centered on the other side. If you don't like the way that looks because it's too close to that right edge of that border, there it is, a little bit better right there. Command C, Command F, grab the blue bar and flip it over, right? So at all times, you're keeping this stuff, you know, I mean, whatever that little piece that you're using. We have a youngster there, and I'm watching my language. I'm watching my language. I'm keeping my cool. Hello, little youngster. Hello.
You're good, man.
How old's that kid?
Ben, do you want to say hi?
Let me see this kid.
How old are you?
6.
That is a good age. When I was 6, I had a little beard, and yep, I was so cute. I was an ugly kid. Oh my God. My parents would put me in a cage and feed me with a stick. Just jab me. Okay, moving right along. Anyone else have a question?
Here we have, I'm trying to see some quick ones here. Let's see, Amy, I'm gonna skip your Mobius strip one for right now because that seems like it'd be complicated. Let's see, we have Peter, not Peter, Jerry. Can you tell us more about the symbols?
Yes.
Not sure
Let's
exactly what that's
have a little chat about that. Okay, I'm gonna bring my symbols over into here so you guys can see it. Let me get my window all cleaned up, and we will go deep into these symbols right now. Okay, let me start a new doc. What's amazing about the symbols palette, okay? So go up here, if you don't have the symbols palette open, go up here to your palette, under window, and scroll down to where you have symbols, and then put the little check by it, you know, and turn it on so you can see it. Because really what symbols, you know, really are is they're just shapes, they're just vectors, right? So any little thing you want to make, if that is any little thing, so let's just say any little thing. And let's just say this is our little logo. That thing looks like shit. Okay, see, I'm trying to be all cool and quick. Okay, sorry, 1 second. I gotta watch the language. There's little youngsters around. Okay, so this is our little logo. It doesn't matter what it is. It's anything for that matter. Okay, here it is. Okay. Now, what's cool about this is if this thing is just even a piece of type, or right now, converted to outlines, just simply a series of shapes that are grouped now, if you drop it into the local, on this local document, and over here, this little symbols options thing, we'll call this one any little thing. We're gonna call it a graphic as a static symbol and save it. That thing now is inside your symbols palette. So the rest of the time that you're working in this document, if you whip this thing out there and then expand it right here at this little break link to symbol, that thing is inside your symbols palette. Now the tricky part is that's only in this one document right now, right? But if you go into this, and this is going to something you have to do a little bit of research later on, new document profiles. Okay, so what this means is simply this. This is hard to get to, but I'll show you, and then what I'll do is I'll do a screen grab and I'll put it inside this document and we'll make sure we get this to you some which way. It's next week. If you go into, I think it's inside your applications. No, shit, no, it's in your library. And you go into application support, into Adobe, into Illustrator, into ENUS, we're almost there, and then into new document profiles. All these little doodads right here, These are like little templates basically to start with, okay? Now, if you look at this thing like this, look at this big long path of stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a screen grab of that right now, and I'm gonna go take that and put that into that document so we can talk about this. You know, you can see how to get there. You'll find yours, you know, just replace your name for my name, etc. But when you're in this window right now, this one, right, the one I have right here is called Basic CMYK, right? So watch this. If I put, we'll go back and grab any little thing, just shapes or anything you want for that matter. And inside this Basic CMYK, there it is. And I go put that into my symbols palette. Anything you want to call it, graphic, static symbol, cool. And now save it and then go close that one. We can go, let's see, we'll call this the symbols, Making Midwest Workshop, _ symbols. And then jump out of all this stuff because you have to restart your machine or restart your Illustrator. So let me restart my Illustrator. Okay, 1 second. Taking offers on this old piece of shit. And he throw some numbers out there. Okay, I'm gonna crack open my Illustrator again. Now check it out. Illustrator. Command new, and you go into here into Basic CMYK. There it is, a new one. And inside my symbols palette is any little thing that we put into the root file. So when I expand that thing now, there you break the link to the symbol. You can color it anything you want because all it is just a little thing that was stored in your root folders, the root file, right? So now check it out. How I use my symbols palette is like this. There's my DDC logo. Here's my DDC small optically adjusted. What that looks like, that means this is the one for like softball size or baseball size. And then this one is good for tiny little things in the corner on like one of my screen prints or something, right? Because those D's are heavy, they're more rounded, see? So this way I don't have to continue to round that thing every time I need a small version. I just yank it out of my symbols palette and there it is. If I run a reminder of what, of like the color spectrum, I grab this little piece I built years ago. That's got nice math. And when when you open that thing up and do the little break the link to symbol, all that is just, 12 little pie shapes in the nice, just for me to remember. Because like when I make things like this, Taylor, patch archive. That's the stuff that reminds me. I've already done the math on that thing, right? So that's these are all my patches I've made over the years, right? Okay. So now to go a little bit further, when I was messing with Melissa there's a little heart, and then here's an arrow, a couple different arrows, right? Whatever you need, like these little wedge guys and stuff, little chevrons and stuff. Or when I do my type for Draplin Design Company, there's no reason to go grab it. So here's what I want to say. Who here works for a company where you have to go onto a server to get the logo? Couple hands. Okay. Well, the next time you do that, listen, you're not doing anything wrong. That's what you're supposed to go do. I get it. But the next time you have to go do that, count the steps it takes to get to that logo. And if it takes over 5 or 6 steps, downloads, passwords, fucking confirmation sent to your phone, all that stuff that we're all dealing with, if that's what it takes, you're just wasting time. You know what I mean? You're just wasting time. So it's just this weird thing where it's like, if you can quickly just go and say, I need a logo, there it is. Open it up. That was 1, 2, and 3 steps. That's that classic bicentennial logo, right? So here's what I want you to think about in a little bit different way. Now watch this. Say you needed a bowl shape, Count the steps. So like basically this. Call it a half circle. Count the steps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, shift, 4, let it go, 5, 6, grab the arrow, get rid of it, 7, go back and click the little pen tool. 8, 9, 10, click off, 11. 11 steps to make that thing, right? That's nuts. You can go like this, 1, 2, 3, and have that shape already pre-built for yourself, and then start to build stuff. If we want a little bird or something, I don't know, you make some little bird. You know, there's a little bird right there. You know, you're just cooking fast, right? And then a little wing. Now see, it'll stay the original color you gave it until you break the symbol. But see, this is it. These are just simple little shapes, right? So check it out. I've built quarter circles. There's no sense in having to go snap those pieces out of there. Why even have to rotate it? If all you need is that little wedge piece, then do it accordingly. Or like, you know, certain kinds of little, like, you know, little comfortable little shapes for putting type inside and stuff. Or I miss my old wiener dog, Gary. Oh, he was so cute, little Gerald. He was a horrible dog. He had breath like earthworms too at that. I mean, just a horrible dog, but so cute. Used to bark, and piss all over the place. It was great. But take a look. There's my Field Notes logo. And then, you know, every time I have to sign a PDF to get paid and stuff, I'm digging up my signature, scan it in one last time, make it a vector, bring it in as a symbol, and it goes with all your documents, right? And it's built that way. Now, when I take this thing and I release it, I color it whatever I want to color it, I've got my little signature to go plop inside a PDF or whatever I'm working on to sign something that quick, right? So that's the symbol pal, okay? And, you know, I mean, it's just about efficiency. Like, why go and build a square? Like, this might be a little extreme. There's a square 3 steps later, but you can just grab it like this and trust that it's already a square, 1 inch by 1 inch. Why make, if you want a little diamond of it, well, there's your diamond right there. I mean, these are next to nothing, you know, to have inside there. If you want a perfect little triangle, there it is. I built it one last time. Or say we're making, let me see, let me go look in the chat window. Let me just go mess with someone here. Who haven't I messed with yet? Lori Tompkins. Hello, Lori. We're gonna make something nice for Lori. Let's see here. And the idea is we're gonna make something cool, and we're just gonna have a little bit of something happen inside here. And maybe it's just this, you know, whatever you bring in the shape or whatever shape that you're bringing in there. Maybe it's this little, you know, we've got things to play with just this quick. And we go and we match it to that line width. We put it inside here. I don't even know what I'm doing, but the idea is we're just using these really simple shapes effectively, right? So if we're trying to be sort of like, you know, to make that thing all feel like it's all part of the same little, like there's a pro tip. If you have a really light piece of type, any little elements that go around it, have it the same exact width as your type. Now this is a kind of a, you know, this is a really chill piece of type right here, but check it out. The moment we put it into, you know, it's just this, yeah, some Helvetica bold. And we go and we bring it down lowercase. And we give it a little bit of love to make sure it's got just a little bit of, you know, nicely, you know, real Crate and Barrel-y looking right there, right? But check it out. The moment we go put it into one of these little shapes like this, it's going to change the way that thing feels. Lori, what colors do you like? Lori, are you there? Okay, I'm just gonna go on. I'm gonna make a leaping, jumping assumption here, and see, just by throwing that in there real quick, we went and tried something a little bit different, where maybe it's like, yeah, I don't know. I've just got, you know, some of the basic shapes I'm always kind of using here. The symbols palette arms me for that stuff, right? Where I can have these things. I don't have to go dig them out of an old file. They're just ready to go. And that's how I use symbols palette. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to go and build, sort of a general set of symbols for you guys to start with. And then, learn where they go. That's in the new document profiles. And just by writing that down, you guys, can everyone hear me okay? Okay. But just when you write down just new document profiles, when you do a web search for that, Adobe Illustrator new document profiles, it'll tell you how to build those things. And then what you can do is you can put all the swatches you want in that root file, all the symbols you want in that root file. And then every time you open that file, call it the basic CMYK or whatever you call it, it starts with that stuff that you armed yourself with. So for those people who are doing 29 steps to get to one logo for that client they're working on, don't do that anymore. If you know you're going to be working on a project for 6 weeks, go put that into your symbols palette, because every time you need it, then it's just 2 or 3 clicks away, right? But the scary part is if you send that document off, it brings all that stuff with it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about next, is the idea that you can also build nothing into a document, right? No symbols, no swatches, no nothing. And that's a good insurance policy for simply what I'm about to do right now. So if this is our little logo, and we have this little thing all of a sudden, we want this thing in a document. Right now, check it out. There's all kinds of stuff in this document floating around here, right? So what instead, if I'm gonna get ready to hand this off to the client, what I'm gonna do instead, go Command New. I built this one called Clean Doc. I open this one up and check it out. There's no symbols, there's no swatches, only black and white. When you put the little Lori logo into it, it brings in the blue, and now you know thing in that document. Because now when I go save this thing, save, making DZ20, making mid-mess workshop, symbols, and we'll call this Lori. I know for a fact that's the only thing that's in there, okay? And this is a pro tip, because the deal is this. The best way to tell it is to tell a story about these buddies down in San Francisco. Who here's experienced this? When you zoom in on something, so what we'll do is we'll pretend this is the thing right here. Here's the thing that we're working on. And you zoom in, and then, when you have to go back and forth to a window, and it's a pain in the ass to make all the changes on a document, you can go cut and paste all the feedback from your, from your account manager or whoever, your boss, to make the changes. Well, check this out. 2 friends in San Francisco. A young kid was, my buddy is an account manager, and he's dealing with this young kid, right? And the young kid is making all these changes to some magazine or something. I think they were working for some bit of Apple or something. So they were building some little booklet or something. So there's all these changes in the type and the text, right? All the stuff, pages and stuff. So he gets this list of stuff. He's going back and forth between the windows. And then what he does is he says, you know what? I'm going to be fast about this. He goes into his email, much like I'm doing right now, opens something up, grabs the feedback in the screen grab, does this, puts it right here. And now what he's doing is he's reading the feedback, making the changes, reading the feedback, making the changes, and it's that many less things to go, right? But who here has experienced this? When I had to bring that thing in, Command V, there it goes. And I put it off like this. But who's experienced this? When you click on something, it does this thing where it goes like this, off to the side, like some kind of a Bluetooth situation, right? And it goes like this off to the side, way off, way off, way off, and it finally stops, and you go, Command V, cool. And then you go do something, go get a drink of water, you come back, you can't find your graphic, crap, there it is, and you do it again. Make all your changes, do all your stuff. Well, check it out that day when that kid brought that feedback in from my buddy Dean. Dean said something about their contact at Apple or whatever the hell they were working on. And they were like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. She's dumb as shit. He doesn't know what he's doing. Just make the changes, save it, and be done with it. So the kid does this stuff, but check it out. When that thing went off to the side because someone phantom clicked over here, there was some little bug or something. He left this original one way off into the side over here in the ether somewhere, right? Like it snapped way over there somehow. So when he's working on this, he gets all the feedback done where it says, you know, they say like how we all talk. Oh, they're stupid. The client is dumb. They don't know what they're doing. I hate making these changes. Get it done. Get it done. Okay. Makes the changes, deletes this, saves it, gives it to Dean. Dean sends it to the client. They try to open it up, and wouldn't you know it, it's asking for this file. And in a low-res situation, they read it, and it says, she's stupid, he's stupid, they don't know what they're talking about, I hate these people, whatever they said. These guys got let go from their job. That's a real thing. So who here's left a chat window open? Cool. All right. Who here's whatever? There's all sorts of weird stuff. Everything's moving faster and faster and faster and faster. Notifications come up that might be a private thing. It's sitting on your machine, and that's how the world's going. Protect yourself from that stuff. Nothing, you know, don't do anything creepy, but just protect yourself from making bad decisions, because the machines are making it easier to make these bad decisions, right? So the way I do this, to start all over again, is I'll go and grab that logo, go to the clean doc that I've built for myself, open that, plop that thing in there, and I know for a fact that's the only thing. And then when I go to save this thing, and I say, all right, there's the Lori logo, I know for a fact it's only got what I want to send along with it, right? That's just that's a big pro tip, we'll just say. Now, when you check your stuff, there's no symbols attached to it. The only color swatch is that blue that we brought in. Make sure that the type, you know, is converted to outline, so it's not bringing along the typeface. And then when you save this thing, you're just ensuring that you have good process, right? And that, well, you're not going to show something embarrassing. Listen, that shit happens all the time. It's like, what do you call it? Like reply all, you know what I mean? That's really dangerous. And you know what you can do inside your, you know, Google, you can turn, I think you can turn it off to where you can't reply all. It's just easy to do. Like who here has had their phone on all their top numbers and then, you know, does like the butt dial at 2 in the morning when they're laying there in bed, and you're calling Mitch back in wherever the hell, Ohio or something, at 4 in the morning. What's up, Mitch? No, my knuckle hit it, you know? Some part of me hit it. I don't get it. I won't get into it. But all right, who's got a question? We're in overtime. We're just starting.
We got a quick one here from Terry. Terry wants to know when you're coming to Brazil.
Never. I don't like that Bolsonaro guy or whatever the hell it is. I don't like him. I know. Hey, we got a worse one. What's his name? Yeah, I know. We got the worst guy. So I would go there.
Hey, come on, that's debatable. Like we all have our point of views. I think we shouldn't get in who's the worst, but like you should come. It's pretty cool here.
Yeah.
I know Caio will agree with me.
I'll do my whole talk in Portuguese. Whole talk.
I saw your Portuguese last week. It was amazing.
Not good. I know. I can barely.
No, it was cool. It was cool. You tried it, man. It was cool.
If you come to Portland, Terry, we'll figure something out. All right. But Brazil, bit of a stretch right now. I can barely even leave the block. But someday, and I'll get down there and we'll go kick soccer balls and hang out.
I'll be your official translator. I'll pick you up at the airport, take you to the best food spots, whatever you need, man.
Let's talk about this on someone else's time. Okay, so now who's got a question?
We got one from Lori here. This one might need a little bit more, but she says, can you show how you do the lines for something like the quotations more color logo or the star stamp? Lori, do you need to, is that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah. I put a link in the chat, Matt, if you
I think that was just a private one just to me. And
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
watch this.
It's not found.
Okay, so check this out. This logo that I made here for the more color. Let's see here. This will be we'll call this one. Let's see that. We already got that one. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, so Lori, that's $1,000 for that logo right now. Okay, let's see. So this sticker that I made, or this patch that I made a long time ago, it's really actually pretty simple. Where was it? Oh, sorry, patch. These are all the patches I made right here. Right. Okay, I'm gonna go find that one. I did this one called More Color, and really what it was about, here it is right here. Okay, so check it out. I love spectrums. You know, I just love the positive quality of, like, you know, the universe and nature, and just what nature gives us, even in a rainbow. It's amazing to me. And okay, we won't do a clean doc. We'll do a basic CMYK. But what's really, you know, misleading about this, and this goes back to that star, is like, here is the patch that I made, you know, and this little star right here, it's actually pretty easy to do. Now, you know, to go back to where, you know, what we were doing last week, where I was doing, you know, but see, to show you guys something fun of what it takes to make that, let me see if I have this thing, hold on a second, where I landed on it. You can see some of the gross stuff I've made over the years. Hold on a second. Of what it takes to get me to where I'm like, okay, this thing is ready to go, but I didn't like it up until I got to this point or that point or something, right? So hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. No, the mania that this one was. I remember it being really tricky. Yes. Okay. So when I started to lock in on it and like it, it took me a lot of, you know, ups and downs and twists and turns. Stuff is starting to happen there, but that little star right there meant we got it. We got it. Okay. You've seen this one before. Want to show your face to 40 people here all over the world? I know I'm in the middle of it right now. Come on, you guys want to light the room up a little bit with a little bit of like, lucky girl, huh? Okay. All right. So, you know, when I'm building that stuff, you know, this was something starting to happen here, but until I like it, you know, it takes me a long time. Like, this one had a little more of a complex quality to it. But when you go to the Command Y, you'll see where I'm building them off of those little simple maneuvers, right? And there it is right there. But to go rebuild it, you know, there it is even better right there. Okay, but to rebuild this thing for you guys right now, when you start with a simple, now remember what we did last week, okay? So we'll try to go quick, is when we start with a star, there it is, and we give it an outline. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we have, you know, how do you get to that center of the star? Well, let's go as quick as we can. Here's an even faster way. Here to that point right there. We'll go to this point right here, to this little, whoops, to this little wedge right here. And that right there is the center of that star, perfectly. So now, when we go through and we build one of these real quick, see, check it out. All we want is we want that little piece right there to have something aligned to it. So we take a line like this, and we give that a different color. And then we do that again. Because we can go and just separate these things out by using your little Pathfinder tools and use the outline. There it is. Give it a weird color, green. Grab all of them but that one right there. Get rid of the other ones. And now align this line to the top of that one, and that is the perfect center of that, right? So there it is. Now you can get rid of this one because we're just going quick, and group that thing centered. There it is, centered. Group it, and now go align this one with it, right? So that's the center to go off of. Now check it out. If we're gonna go build one of these little guys like this, we'll give it a weird color. So there's some turquoise, and now go. Let's see. I think that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So that's 36 degrees. 36. Copy. Is that what that is? No. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10, 36, right, sorry. But it's gonna be a little weird, so let's see here, sorry. Okay. And now when we take this thing and group these things and center those up, and now come off of this thing, and let's just say we go offset 0.25 and round it, and then go up a little bit more. Okay. And now what you do is you just got this thing right here is it's centering with the whole piece right here. You want these turquoise guys to be centered with the little pink line. So you bring this thing down, there it is right there. Whoops, one more piece right there. Group all those and now bring it down and center with that. There it is right there. And then what that does, that creates that piece, that piece, that piece. Now check it out. Keep a version of this thing around. Get rid of the purple line, the pink line. And now when you go and make this some color and use your path by divide and get rid of the stuff you don't want on the inside, and there's the design ready to start to color it, right? So same thing. Once you have that initiated center point, then you can go build, you know, the star stamps. Like today on the website, I put up this little guy right here. Merch, and this one right here. And that was built precisely the same way. You know, I would have built this piece and those pieces first, and then just went boop, 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 all the way around. You know what I mean? So what I would say is, you know, like Amy, how she rebuilt that concrete thing. Try and rebuild this. It's not that rough, but understanding the center point of a star, using the orbit, and using that little fifth, 72 degrees worth quadrant. That's how you do that stuff, you know? And the funny part about it is that is actually really complex, but it's kind of not, you know what I mean? So when I back out and I say, you know, star spectrum stuff, and I show you like this kind of stuff, I just nerd out on this stuff and go crazy with it. But frankly, I'm keeping track of all my stuff and I'm going through and I'm just getting weird, you know, trying to make little color studies, and all of it is based on this, you know, and learning how to use that stuff all the way around. And when I got to this, like, okay, when I got to here, that's probably one I showed on my Instagram and said, hey, I did a little color study of 7 stars, 7 points, you know, and really all it is just math all the way along, you know, it's just math. There was this one that I did a couple years ago that was pretty fun. I don't know how to find it. Let me see if I can find it. Lexington. And it was this little guy right here, but it was a beast to make. And really what it comes down to is, let me see if I can find that. Kentucky, that was last year, workshop. Okay, so here it is, round 1. Like this was awesome and insane. Yeah, you can see what these things look like, you know, but I was all over the place. But what was fun, I came up with new stuff along the way. Like that's just a cool sticker for something, you know. In the end, I came up with this little guy, and that's the one that they picked. I had little 5s. So it was all about the 5. It was the 5th version. But see, these are just all, you know, like there is something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something there, you know. And you can see my process here. Like this is me, like there was something about these rounded edge little things. And you get these little rounded little pieces here. I just keep going, offset, -2, land on this right here, then you're offsetting. It's just crazy. But it's all about just the geometry of how this stuff works. You start to separate these little pieces here. You know, this one was pretty cool with little stuff, because in the end, it's just this cool little star shape. But yeah, so that's what it looks like when I give stuff to a client, you know. And in the end, they did, like this was the one they did a couple years ago. And then they had the new one, and it was this one right there. That was the one, that was the poster that they made for it. And it turned out awesome. It was pretty cool. And I mean, I don't really get paid for that stuff. I got paid to go there and talk. But you know, I made a logo, and you know, if they would have one this year in May, but obviously they didn't have one because of the pandemic, they would have done a 6th version, maybe 6-sided or something, right? So, okay, does that answer your question there, Lori? I think it should.
Yes,
Anything
thanks
else?
a lot.
Well, thank you, Lori, always. Anything else, you guys? Let's come on. We're in overtime, but I'm nowhere near ready to stop. Who's got a question?
Devin, go ahead, ask your question.
Devin.
Yeah, thank you. It says how do you evenly arrange shapes in like a larger shape? Last week you had the little rectangles inside the big rectangle. I don't know, what's a trick you use to do that?
I don't know what we were doing last week. Matt, can you remind me like what he was, or maybe, or Devin? I don't.
You were kind of doing the subtraction. You were making like a wing, and you had like a bird's wing, like an aviator, like the airline wings, something, and you had put the little rectangles to make the little gaps, and they were evenly distributed. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. There's lots of ways. So if we're just going to go rebuild that thing real quick, and I'm going to subtract it, right? So we'll start with the wing. If I can remember what I was doing last week, I apologize, but thanks, Devin. Let me see here. Okay. So check it out. Here's the wing. And then let's just say we're going to go shear a little piece off. You know, I know that it was a rounded piece, but just for the sake of argument, what we're doing here is we're just taking any random shape. There it is right there. And we're subtracting with it, right? So there's a white. And now we want the little bars that go inside here. So there's lots of ways to do this. There's lots of ways. So first of all, we can just kind of eyeball it, right? And we're just gonna make a bar, but there's a better way than just kind of going like this and saying, all right, now watch, I'm gonna do it, I'm eyeballing it. And they're all wiggly and wonky, and that's just not the way to do it, obviously, right? But the way to mathematically make that thing work is like this. Leave the white bars above it, go color this something else you can see, color this something else you can see over here, and now watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let this thing snap to this one. Snap right there. I'm gonna let this one snap to the bottom of it. So this one snaps to the bottom edge, this one snaps to the top edge. Now when you grab all those, bam, and then use your little align right here, the one that's called distribute objects, vertical center, vertical distribute center. That is perfectly equidistant now, right? So now when we go over here and we say, all right, you know, Devin's the client, says, I only want there to be 4 plumes. Okay, get rid of 1, 1, 2, 3, get rid of 1 more, grab that thing up above, distribute it, 4 perfect plumes.
I think that menu is off of the screen. So.
Say it again.
I said I think that menu the button that you're pressing is off the screen right now.
Can you see that right there? You can't see that?
No.
You can see it.
It's off the screen?
Yeah.
This is within your properties tool, or you can go to the align thing.
There, we saw the align.
Yeah, just to show you what I'm doing. Sorry, guys. So if this thing is, we only want 3, let's just say we do 3. Once again, dupe it all. I'm gonna show you yet another way. And now go through. Now that's the quick Barracuda way, right? Now to go and give that thing the right little feel on the inside of the plume, maybe bring this little piece in here like this and lay it over the top of that and see how that's starting to feel, right? So now if we go and start to dissect that thing out of there, get rid of the blue bars, and now you've got that little guy built that way, right? And all that is those pieces laying over that thing. You got to keep track of it, but here's another way to do it. If you understand simply this little guy, this one's probably the most effective way, but it's pretty nerdy, right? It's kind of mathy. Go under, because you can't, you kind of have to be precise. It locks it in. What's nice about those are live over here, right? Those are live. You can see they're just laid over that shape. If you want them thicker or thinner, you have to redo it, but then it's up to you to do it. But if you know what you're doing and you know what you need, then use the machine. So check this one out. This is simply called object, path, split into grid, right? So now you have rows and columns. Columns is vertical. The rows look like this. Get your preview going. It's hard to see. Let me change the color of this so we can see it a little bit better. So there's green. So you can see the blue lines. Can you guys see that all okay? Okay, now check it out. Path, go into split into grid, and then go turn your preview on and see what I'm doing there. So if you want 4, and then you want X amount of gutter, 0.125, let's just do 4 point. There it is. But when that thing's done, those are 4 equidistant shapes. Now I'll do that when I'm towards the end. When I'm towards the end of something, you know, I'll do that because this way it's just precision based, right? And whatever thing that you go stretch that thing into, if you go say like this, you know, and whatever, and then you go to your path and then go into your split into grid, it's going to bring it back up again. There it goes. And you can get crazy with it, right? There's all kinds of stuff you can do, you know? I mean, that's the thing. It's like, there's many ways to do this stuff. There's many ways. I like the stuff that's the most live, if that makes sense. Because later on, you've got all the parts and pieces you built it with. You have to think a little bit different. Like, you know, all those like retro shirts and shit you're seeing out there right now that's like everywhere in the world, this kind of stuff, you know, and you got like, you know, I don't know, you know, I mean, I do this stuff all day long, but you know, these like retro shirts, and you do this sort of like this, just a white bar, you know, and then it just says something like, you know, I don't know. Pretty cool t-shirt, you know. Now, if you got your symbols palette open, who was Colin again? Was there a Colin here? No, I screwed up. Just Mitch, just a t-shirt for Mitch. We're just making a shirt for Mitch, one shirt, one time. He's wearing a red t-shirt right now. And I pulled this out of my symbols palette. I made this in 1996. Look how crusty that thing is. I unlock it. I give it a red t-shirt. There it is. I bring this little guy over. I put it in front of there. I subtract all the stuff off it, you know, minus front. I'd wear that shirt. Just Mitch. God, tough crowd, huh? Tough crowd, huh? Nothing to watch on Netflix, huh? All right, everyone, just relax. Trying here.
Thanks, man.
All right, Mitch. $1,000 right now, man. I'll print it and everything. Print it on an overnight t-shirt. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but
Sweet.
yeah, Devin, what else you got, man?
That's all I got. Thank you.
All right,
That's great.
Devin, I'm your dad. I miss you. What else you guys got?
Hey, Amy wants to know if there's a way that you can make those lines incrementally bigger when you are, you know, have a row of them like you do there.
Oh, like right here, you mean?
Yeah, like yeah, each one of those can. Is there a way to make them incrementally bigger?
There is, but it's a little bit tricky. There's a couple steps. So check it out. If we did another one like this, we have to go grab all the pieces that go with it. See, it gets a little sloppy, but if we go grab a couple more little pieces from this, like this, and check it out. Now, if you want to go a little bit thicker here, there's a couple steps. You would grab all these pieces right here, make sure they're not grouped, and then go under Object, Transform, Transform Each, and you can go in here and you can mess with this little guy and go, you know, horizontally longer, or if she's saying a little bit thicker, beef those things up. But the problem is right now, they're not equidistantly spaced. They are within that thing, but they're not distributed within inside the, we'll call it the wing shape. So if she said she wanted to make them a little bit thinner, there we go, thinner. Then you got to go bring that little bar to the top, snap it to the top of it, right? Oh, we got to get a little bit closer. There it is, snapped. Go to the bottom, snap it, and then go and distribute vertical, and there they are, right? So you can see that was a little bit thicker, that's a little bit thinner. So these are tiny little things, you know. It's just if you understand Object, Transform, you know, and this thing, go play with this thing. It's an Transform Each. It's crazy. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can move things, you know, all in one time because you're messing with all of them as one group. But if they're grouped, it just doesn't scales the whole thing, right? You know, so check it out. Where this thing is cool is something like this. You know, if you're making something.
Amy says that she means having each line be thicker than the last. So if there's 5 of them.
Yeah, you know what? There are ways to do it. There are ways to do it. There was something like this. You grab these two and you go object. Is it? Oh, it's been a while. Blend, make. Yeah, but see, this is tricky because now watch what happens here. Let's redo it again. Blend, and you got to go blend options and smooth. Specified steps. Let's just say you only want 7 steps. Say 5. And now go do it. It's got that like it, you know, it knows to do that. Blend, make, that's 5. But it doesn't, see that little one right there, it doesn't necessarily, the math gets a little weird sometimes, right? So how I do it, if I needed to do that, it's nerdy, but it gets it done pretty quick. Start here, any distance, right? There it is. And I'll just go do something like this. I'll start there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or something. I'll bring this one like this and do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And just do this until you've got a quiver of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Give me a second here while I do this. I'll show you what you can do. Because after a while, you'll get it to where that's mathematically done the right way, and then you can mess with it. You can go and distribute off of spaces or off the centers, you know, and it just depends. You just gotta have to see if you did that one, that's nice, but see how the math gets weird down there? You just gotta go do this. And you just sometimes just kind of eyeballing it, and that's about right there, right? So that's how I do that. And what I have is I don't know where the hell they're at. They're like in some resource folder somewhere. I have those built from like 1 down to 5, 1 down to 4, 1 down to 3, 1 down to 8. You know what I mean? So by the time you start at 1, you're left at 8. I've got that somewhere in here. It's like some kind of a fade. It's like you can do that with lines with halftones and stuff too. But you know, that's the thing. It's like now for something like this, to go show the beauty of this little guy, you can start getting pretty weird here, you know, where you're just messing with the vertical and the horizontal of all that stuff. And there's, you know, that's thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, you know, and it's still got a pretty good little feel, but the math is just going to get weird after a while. You know, what I use that shit for all the time, the shift command option D, that transform each, is when I'm making patterns, you know. So if I'm making a little pattern here, and you go and group these those 3 pieces right there, and then bring this thing like this. Now we're not there yet, but all we're doing is just get these things equidistantly spaced. So we want that many of this, and then like this, and then this sort of like this. Now you don't want these grouped. You want them all loose. So, you know, so check it out. So if you're building a pattern now, and you say, okay, those are all equidistantly spaced, you go to this, you can mess with this stuff to where it's like, okay, there it is. Let's go smaller. Let's go 90% smaller within the pattern. See it? And then go down to 65% and check it out. It can get even weirder. It's awesome. I use this all the time. Now I know there's a pattern tool, but that thing will go away at some point. It's just not really, you know, sometimes it's effective. It takes a lot of memory, and you'll end up with 1,000 little vectors on your stuff. Be careful. Change the angle. Ooh, ooh. Or, okay, so let's say that's cool. All right, cool. Now watch this. This is where it gets awesome. When you go and you start messing with multiple, you know, the multiplication of stuff, see here. And then multiply them over each other and do this. And you start getting this cool little overlap of where those little pieces are happening there. And you can just go like this and make your own crazy little pattern by hitting Command D, because you're just going through and you're just expanding each one of those on their own little axis, right? Now check it out. If this thing right here was all one grouped piece, and you did that, it's only going to expand the whole unit, right? So see, if I go down to 10%, 10%, I just brought it down to 10%, right? Because it's all grouped. But once again, if we do this where it's ungrouped and those are just all grouped little Amy's, and you go down to that 10% or where we can see it and make cool little patterns. You know, there's her little, the wrapping paper that goes inside the care package that I send her when she goes to prison, because tonight she got in a fight in 10 Sleep and took on the whole town, all the MAGAs there. Tough girl. I appreciate it. All right, who's got a question?
We have enough time for probably one or two more questions. What I'd like to do is
overtime. What if I want, Matt?
it's
I
up to
don't
you,
care
man.
how you're going, man. What if I want to go into more?
Well, let's try this. Let's do a couple questions that are not so like software based.
Okay.
Anybody have questions that are a little bit kind of more big picture?
Everybody? How do I come on? How do I get to see everyone?
The share screen button.
I know I'm not seeing it. Hold on, let me try it again. Make presenter, no, remote control, share screen.
The same as the share screen button should be the.
Yeah, I got a question for you once you're all ready to go.
Well, it's like Jake has been waving his hand furiously.
Okay,
Jake,
you go ahead.
I'm gonna get to you. You know who's talking now?
Well, Jake can go before me, but I do have a question.
Okay, what do you got, Mitch?
Yeah, so I really want to watch your factory floor videos. Do you archive those? Because Friday nights I'm usually hanging with my lady.
I understand. You romantic, you. I know. You know. You know.
Go ahead.
My answer for why I don't record them is so shitty, and you're all gonna hang up. But I'll just tell you the exact, honest truth. Every time I say something horrible about Donald Trump, every 15 seconds of my life, people come after me. And I know it's funny, and you guys might not agree with me. I'm not there to try to push anyone or whatever. But people come after me, and when that shit's recorded, you'd be amazed. I had a guy last week follow me all through my platforms. I don't know if anyone saw. He wasn't even one of these MAGA assholes. But if anyone saw, I put up those Puerto Rico things. First of all, headquarters puts up the Puerto Rico books 2 years later. So you guys all understand, all you people here tonight, every time we put those up, we make a donation to Maria Efforts every time. But what we don't do, we don't go and trumpet that and say, we made some, what do you call that? Virtue signaling or whatever? I don't even know, like this, sort of shit. We don't talk about that because I don't want to embarrass my relatives who are, my brother-in-law, his family, a couple generations ago, they're all from Puerto Rico. So when we made those things, we dedicated, donated that a lot of money 2 years ago after Maria. We did it a year ago, donated money, a couple more $1,000. We did 5 or I don't know, whatever it was the first time. Then it's drops in the bucket. But when I have that stuff out there, I am torn apart. So
yeah, I get it.
So Mitch, when I'm freestyling and basically just like I'm talking to like a bunch of Jakes in the room, kids I already know and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's.
Sure, yeah, it's no problem.
I know, but it's like to sound mature for a second. I'm an animal. if Mitch, I worked for you and we were on a phone call, you would never hear any of this stuff. So those things are meant to be in the moment. And it's just a weird thing. I was warned by people, hey, what's going to be fun about this is you may do it, might not do it. You know what's weird about those Factory Floor Fridays? What if I don't want to do it? I get people sending me nasty emails saying, what's up, dude? How come you're not entertaining me? I don't ask for anything other than buying some Draplin.com merch, and I'll go right. Annabella, I know you got it, and I know you need some of that stuff. You're a beautiful little wildflower. Buy something. So whatever, it's like, so that is the honest truth. It's such a weird thing. So I apologize because listen, I have friends over in the UK. I have kids in the Philippines who are getting up at like 6, whatever time it is in the Philippines, to watch that shit. Now imagine getting up at 2:30 in the morning. That's just weird. And I will never understand, although I'll appreciate, but I will never understand the reach that I've had because I come from a bedroom just like you guys. I know there's numbers, but there is a dark side to this stuff, and it is amazing. Even with your heart, hopefully in the right place, trying to raise money for Black Lives Matter and stuff. I don't, you try to do the right shit and say something, and you can easily just quickly become a dumb white guy. You know what I mean? And I understand. I'm glad things are going the other way, and it's going to take white guys like myself to have to sting a little bit and say, here's how we change. But luckily, I've been doing that my whole life. You know what I mean? In the last couple of weeks, dumber white guys than me, they get mad and their fragility just comes flying out. That's why all these Karens and shit you're seeing, because no one's ever challenged them in their life. I had a mom and dad that used to say shit like, I don't know, do it. We went to Catholic church, and I was the asshole 9-year-old used to say to the nuns, but you go on forever? Does your body change? I was 9, and I was puzzling the nun, and the nun didn't want me to come back to catechism on Sundays because I was challenging the throne. Anyway, someone asked me something about Pantones or something. What the hell am I even talking about, Emily?
Well, hang on. I want to ask something real quick here.
Yeah.
So, you have these very strong opinions on things, and I'm curious of kind of what your take is on, I guess with me, what I see is your strong opinions. Some people are going to say, oh, you know what, no way. But also at the same time, you're making, super fans of people. Like whenever you say these things that they also believe. So I'm curious of like how big of a role you believe that personality plays when it comes to the work that you do.
Yeah. What a privilege. I get to go meet kids in schools and say shit to them that they'll come to me and they're in tears afterwards going, I can't say that to my mom and dad. Now listen, and what am I saying? Wow, we should have equality for all. Women should get paid just as much as men. I know tricky shit like human rights. If I'm on the wrong side of history for saying that shit, well then fuck those who come after me otherwise. You see what I'm saying? So when I'm out these schools, I have good old boys in the front row. I know where they stand. For me to go to a kid and just say, hey, I know you're in the backwoods or you're in the big city. You need to make up your own mind. You need to go and weigh the options. You can't trust CNN. You can't trust Fox News. You go read the BBC. You go read, you got to go. Where do any of us learn from? Fauci or Trump? Go figure. So, that was no different in 87. There was a different kind of weirdness in 87 when I was 14 years old. I remember my mom and dad talking about it. So, listen, I would just hope that I'm the same person that you would meet if you came to my house right now. That's it. And it's a responsibility. Now, listen, I wouldn't go out there and say, quit your job so I can monetize that stuff. No, I'm telling you how to scale Amy things. You know what I mean? Right now, competitors of mine, or whatever you want to call it, colleagues of mine, they'll tell you to charge 20 grand for a logo, 100 grand for a logo. Who the hell gets to do that stuff? I'll tell you to charge 200 because 200 pays for 2 months of cable so Lee can watch all this fucking Game of Thrones and Perry Masons and shit she's watching. I don't know what the hell. I like Deadliest Catch. It's simple, you know. She's got a lot of programs she needs to. I need to afford that stuff. So I never will say I'm not worth that or any of that kind of shit. So here's the deal. Whatever I say in these sort of where I can make some, you know, just I would hope it's all sort of healthy and takes guts. And you know, if you don't agree with me, it's okay. But you know, at least we can have a dialogue. But you know, people are afraid to say stuff. And I know I'm in a position where it's like, listen, I have friends who don't vote like me and they'll never say it because they can't now because they're on the wrong side of history. And these are like, you know, they're not even Trumpers. They're conservatives. That's not a bad word. It's not a bad word. You know, there's nothing wrong with being super religious. There's nothing wrong with being right down the middle. There's nothing wrong, you know, whatever, Chuck Hagel and shit. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is complicity is weird, you know. And Mike Lee, who is a raging feminist, will say shit to me like, you need to say something. You're in front of 3,000 Adobe people. What do you mean you're not going to say nothing? And I get up there and I go, I'm not going to say anything. If you voted for him, you're a terrible person. Whatever I said last year. And I got 47 emails saying, I hate you and your face sucks and you're this. I can handle the stuff that says I'm big. No problem. You know, what am I going to do? Ride the bike tonight for 30 minutes. But, you know, hey, man. If it means I'm weeding people out along the way, I don't want them around. That kid that came after me about that Puerto Rican shit, I just wrote him back and said, here's the numbers. Does that cut it for you? I don't need to go. No, you need to maybe assume that we're doing the right thing just for a change instead of calling each other out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't go onto his website and leave ugly comments. You know what I mean? Like, that's just maybe some golden rule shit. But if people ask me how I feel, I'll say something. You know, maybe it's not always the most elegant. You know, but for the most part, 99% of that shit is about vectors and types and, you know, stuff. I just get my barbs in to light people up and, you know, see how their eyebrows react.
Cool, thanks.
That's when I know. Anything else?
Let's go over to Jake, and then I'm going to be hands off, and then you guys just
Jake,
do what you want to do here.
Matt's got to go get on the bus back to the prison to get back checked in. Okay, but Jake, what do you got?
All right, so my computer might be lagging a little bit, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so this is kind of like an abstract one, and I kind of feel like I know how you're going to answer it, but I want to ask anyway, just in case. When did you, as a young designer, get to a point where you felt like, I guess to kind of put it in my perspective, to kind of maybe put some background to it, like I feel like I'm kind of cheating people by showing my portfolio of work because it's the best of the stuff that I make, right? So I've been designing for like a year and a half, 2 years or so, like full time. And so there's a lot of shit that I make that's not good, but these potential clients don't see that. So when I send off the first round of logos, it's not like, I feel like they don't understand, like that's not finished. Like this is the starting point. Like we're going to build from here. When did you feel the confidence in yourself as a designer where you were like how long did it take into the design game where you sent stuff off and you were like, yes, I nailed it, they're going to find something, I don't feel hesitant about anything that I sent, I know that there's something here and we're going to get to a finished product?
I mean, just to be honest, man, the other day when I sent stuff off, it was scary. I'll never lose that sort of, you know, there's a humanity to this stuff of like, what if the person who's looking at it has a bad day? What if they have a good day? You know, they'll choose differently. But what it comes down to is a little bit of brinkmanship at the start of the game. And you're setting a tone. And you're saying things heartfelt, like, this is a process. This is a funnel. Start with some things. Now, you guys, before we did this, you showed me what you were inclined to be inspired by. You showed me things that were competitors. I went and did the research to make sure that I wasn't just throwing shit at them that just was me either thinking the most dangerous, that I just liked it and it was cool and maybe they'll dig it. That is insanity. No. You ask them for what they're into. You ask them what we're trying to solve. You do a little bit of research and ask some questions. That's just discovery, right? Because you're building a case to say, you guys, you're doing 90% of your business this big on your Instagram. It needs to work there. Why are we fighting about a sweatshirt graphic? You know, I don't need to go and like make anyone feel small for that. It's just more like I will show it in the Instagram right out of the gates. You know what I mean, Jake? Like just in context. So I'm working right now for this guy who is a like a bow hunter dude. He goes out and it's all about sustainable hunting. It's right on the edge of all these like Joe Rogan assholes, Navy SEALs, dudes wearing patches on patches and chugging the supplements and I don't know, DMT trips and I don't know all the shit Rogan. There's so sorts of people. He's one of those guys, but he's tired of it. It's too predictable. He was never in the military. He wants to go out, hunt his food. So when I talk to him, it's like, first of all, we haven't nailed his logo yet because he's never had anyone be willing to go every which way he wants to go, to stop and start. But I said, you know, we just had to have a conversation a day ago where I was like, listen, I haven't heard from you, pandemic aside, for 2 months, man. Are we done? Are we not done? Let's wrap it up. Did you like what I showed you 2 months ago? Because if not, you're a friend now, and I'll just keep going a couple more rounds. But to answer the main question of this confidence, first of all, I wouldn't show anything that I wasn't confident in. And then here's the scariest part. Didn't already meet the criteria that was set up at the start of the project. So that's where you're just padding it. Because if they can look at that and say, I don't like it, you could say, well, you did ask for this color. You did show me things that had these sorts of forms. You did go take a look at some of my work and I warned you, I'm not making you thick lines or whatever. Because, you know, listen, it's not always about that. It might be just simply about, you know, being really like soft. And that's my job, you know. I mean, of course, those aren't the things I show. The things I show are things that I try to show to manifest more work so I can sell fun t-shirts and shit. You know, that's my favorite thing to make. No one ever sees me working on menus for restaurants and shit. But that pays the bills. So that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. So it takes a while. You're going to get chewed up. Jake, you're a punk kid. You're just starting out. I've met you 7 times or whatever the hell it is. And I know you're a good kid, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. And no one here is allowed to ask me, well, when do you go out on your own? Unless you've got gray situation like I do. Because otherwise, I don't want to hear it. You got a lot of years you got to live and screw up and take it on the chin. Make $100, make $1,000. You don't see this shit. Me helping kids prep their files to get ready to make posters for, you know, protesters and shit. I probably talked about that a little bit last week, but I would never show that unless they're down with it, you know, because you don't want to hurt anyone and whatever. You don't want to embarrass them. And plus, I don't want some good old boy coming after me on my stuff, you know. If you guys have noticed on my Instagram, I've been doing this like, you know, we amplify voices and I say as loud as possible, here's this kid, person of color, show your stuff. You got the floor, baby, go for it. It's all yours, sweetie, go. And they do it. I get chewed up for that shit. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. I've been doing that my whole life. I've been showing that stuff. But since there's a focus on that stuff right now, you know, it's just a weird time. So confidence is a weird thing. It's like, I'm scared to show it to the bow hunter. I'm scared to show it to these people in the big leagues I was working for, you know, whatever the hell it was, you know, big cosmic, whatever it was. I can't talk about it. It's scary, but I'm scared to show the record for this band called the Cordovas I'm working on right now. And I'll be okay, you know, I'll be all right. But, you know, if you have good rationale, that's a little bit more to push you along. If you can explain the thinking, explain the lack of style. Did someone ask me last week about my style, or was that something else I was on where it was like, I gravitate towards the things I like to make. But when I'm working for so-and-so I can't talk about, that's not about style at all. It's about what's appropriate for them. So that becomes another thing to kind of like, you know, brace myself with. So, you know, here's the deal. There's 2 philosophies with all this stuff. You can show 3 things or you can show 13. And the idea of showing 13 is to say, don't spend 6 hours on each. You spend 13 minutes on each. And in an afternoon, you've got 34 things to show. And you say, Page 1 is 3 or 4 versions on it. Page 2, here's 6 pages, because it's like a volume knob. I started with a little bit of volume, and by the time we got to page 7, it's going loud. Jake, you've heard me talk about this, you know, but the idea is it ramps up. It ramps up, and by the time it gets to that last page, it might just be too far for them, but at least you showed that you were able to go there to accommodate the process. Because what happens a lot is they say, we like 3, we want a little bit of 6, and that happens all the time. And then I'm a little bit closer on the target, you know. Before I know it, we're shitting out that final thing. I'm making the final files, and I'm handing the stuff on. It's a process, you know. Sometimes you got the bow hunter guy, and he's just not used to people. I don't know what the word is. Is it being accommodating? I don't know. Maybe I'm wasting time. I just like them. I make time for that stuff, you know. So it's so hard to talk about because every job is different, but the foundation's always the same. Explain why you're going to do it. You know, explain. I mean, you know, everyone always asks me about how you charge and stuff. You don't say shit until they throw the number out. Because what if you go and you say, well, divided by the angle of the dangle, divided by the hypotenuse and the coefficient, divided by the, it's this much. You know, the answer, Jake, is 7. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so, you know, I'm riffing here. Who's got something else? We're in overtime. Come on, Dana. What do you got? Look at that cute dog. You know, what do you got, Dana? You're here. Archie, I'm coming up next.
I guess I'm just kind of wondering, like, when a design becomes too simple or when you know to add more complexity to something.
Yeah, that's a really fun question. I don't know. You know, it just really depends on what, you know, if people are coming to me for patterns or people are coming to me for a t-shirt design, well, those are things you can offer really clean and then really, you know, intricate or something, you know. And I know this is going to sound weird, but sometimes if it's way more intricate, it's a lot more time. So you just tease them to see if they're feeling that. And then if they're feeling it, then you go nuts and actually produce the stuff, right? But no, there's ways of doing it just to say, you know, like if I was making a logo for Amy and it was like somewhere along the way she wanted to have a little pattern, I would just do a really quick one to say, here it is mocked up really quick. If you're feeling this, we can try other things, you know. But what you don't want to have is you don't want to have a person kind of going, we don't know if we want complex or nothing. Do all of them, you know. So then you just got to like weigh it and show just a smidge, and just that's where you got to turn on your little trickery, and don't let them know that you mocked it up in 15, 20 minutes, and just to show them a little quick flavor, you know, and weed that stuff out, you know. So, but I don't know. A lot of the discovery process is, you know, if when I'm making a logo, it's like we'll talk about it, and what I'll do as a little trick, I'll say, think of it like what level you guys are on. Who do you guys aspire to be? Who is, look at the little lunch come there for Brazil. I'm so hungry right now. Try to eat this, but you guys weren't looking at it. Okay, try to eat. I'm so hungry. What level are you on? What level do you like? Do you guys see yourselves going to? Who else is working at your level that you can like look at? What's a list of that stuff? Okay, who is below you guys but are doing great work and you like what their stuff looks like? Let's see it all. Because really what it does, it's like, wow, the space you're in, the record, I did a record label maybe a year ago, and it was like when you looked around all the other people, I know why they were coming to me, because all the other ones had filigree and stuff and things, and they wanted to clean all that shit up. And that's where I become an Aaron Draplin to help them just be really refined. Awesome, because then we're on the same page. But if it went the other way and it was a bunch of, you know, clean little, simple little like appy looking things, that's an opportunity to go nuts and then show them a version of that. You know what I mean? Just to say, hey, up above you is this, right where you guys are at is this, and maybe the guys on their way up, you know, there's also things you can say like, you know, like who's in the big leagues and you hate their work, but who's in the smaller leagues but like is really powerful. There's some math to look at there, you know. Wow, it's in tech space, it's all blue logos. Don't be a blue logo. That's one more little ring off the target as you're going down, you know what I mean? And that's all just about discovery and asking questions and starting the project off with a really good positive spirit, like to say, I'm yours. And this is a process, which you're going to see, 10 days from now, 2 weeks from now. I can go even quicker. If you guys want to just, I'll say this kind of shit like, I'm working for Target right now on something. And did I show it last week? Chris Wilson, throw it away. Put the key, throw it away. Don't say nothing. I still haven't heard from them. That was 7 days ago. Like, when do we get some feedback? You know what I mean? But they move really slow. They move slow. So I'll say things at the start like, you guys want to get this thing done? What if I show you some stuff in 5 days? You can see them like, really? I'm like, no, I'm going to work tonight. I'm hot. I'm going. That is a way to get them into your court. Not this shit where you say, 2 weeks from now, at the end of day, like, who's even going to be around in 2 weeks? You know what I mean? What if I just say I get a call on a Monday? I'll have stuff to you by Friday morning. They flip out. It's like, well, if I put 40 hours in or 4, they don't know. I act like it's 40, but if you show up Friday morning with stuff ready to go, even if it's just initial, you've won them. You know what I mean? So there's little tricks you can do to kind of guide things to see, But, it just comes down to being a good citizen and asking lots of questions, if that makes sense, Thank you, Dana. That was a good question. See, I'm trying to be a gentleman. I'm trying to be nice. Now watch when I go after broadbent. What do you got, Archie? Come on. Where are you at with all that light?
So Michael has a question up there.
Oh, Michael.
Archie, where are you at?
Ashland.
Ashland?
Yep.
Cool, man. Well, if you got any questions, let me know. Okay. Was it Michael? Michael, yes, sir.
Hey, I got a question regarding like copyright and fair use and things. So when you did your line of posters for like all the different states and stuff, and you would like shove all those really cool little graphics in there that would like pertain to that state. I know some of them were things like, for example, the Ohio one, like you had the Cincinnati Reds in there and the Kroger logo and the Frisch's Big Boy logo. Like, how do you handle things like that? Because technically those are, copywritten and those are ownership by someone else. Do you just say the hell with them and put it in there until they yell at me? Do you like seek out permission? Does it just kind of vary based on what the project is?
Well, first of all, about once a year, I'm sitting on 90 posters here, right? About 45 of them, I wake up in the middle of the night and go, what did I do? You know what I mean? But check it out. I had a lawyer friend say to me, you're okay because first of all, if you took the Kroger logo and or even scarier than that, Kroger might like it. But if you took the Cincinnati Reds logo, put it on a t-shirt, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Because
you're just making a Reds product. There's this weird legal beagle. When you're showing it amongst all these other things, it can be argued that it's educational. And you are showing it to show context of design history, regional design logo prowess, historical ugliness, historical positivity. I mean, it's really interesting what it gets into. But the problem with all this stuff is if you're making like the perfect mug, a DDC, I made a mug, right? And I put a Starbucks logo because I want to hold Starbucks coffee, and it's a mug with the Starbucks logo, you're going to get in trouble. The way it was explained to me that, all the stuff you see like on Canal Street in New York City, and you walk by and it's like $5 iPhone cases in every color, and you're like, oh, do you have the iPhone, whatever the hell it is, and it's like, if it's got an Apple logo, they're going to get in trouble because what it's doing, it's creating market confusion. And that's easily arguable in court to be like, you're not allowed to do that. You can't go and print a Cincinnati Reds t-shirt because you're creating confusion with the stuff you buy in our merch thing. Now, what's interesting, I put these little things in my stuff where I say, listen, these are dead logos. I get in more trouble because I wouldn't put the racist Cleveland Indians on the Ohio thing. I've gotten a lot of heat for that. I've had reporters call me and say, why? I said, well, you know why. And they're going to have to change that shit. They have to change that shit. Well, I didn't put it on there and I got in trouble, from, Cleveland Indians fans. So You know, what's funny is I've gotten calls from Coca-Cola and they're like, can we buy 100? You sure can, because they want them for their, to give out to clients and shit. Because you know what category it falls in? If you guys remember Adbusters, you guys know what Adbusters is from the 90s? Steven, maybe we're old enough or whatever. But Mike, you remember. So okay. Adbusters was basically like, challenging the ad industry, consumption, consumerism, capitalism. And they would make logos and posters with all the horrible ones at the time. It was Exxon ripoffs and riffs and things and, stuff. You can't mess with that. It's political satire at that point. So once a year, man, I kind of go, oh, did I do something wrong? And, frankly, 99% of those damn things are so long gone. Like when I started the Atlanta one, that Hawks logo was dead and gone. I know the kids that work for the Hawks, and they're like, we got that logo going again. And I was like, well, about time. It was better than all the other stuff, from 82 or whatever. So, there's only been one time where a guy said to me, called me and said, you should have made our logo bigger. And I said, I told him, I said, Canada, there was a guy up in the Canadian flag, my Canada, I said, someday when we make a state out of you, then you can be pissed. Until then, with your stupid currency and flag, whatever. Actually, I'm just joking. I love Canada. I love the flag. I love the currency. It smells like maple syrup. It really does. But, well, Michael, that was a good, thoughtful question. I hope I answered it okay. It's scary stuff. Have you ever gotten any heat with that stuff? Or
Not directly. I know I've had people question things, or even worse, people have come to me and said, hey, I got this great t-shirt idea. Can you put like the Buckeyes logo real big on it? I'm going,
yeah. I mean,
no.
That's good. That's good, because that's our responsibility not to make that buck. I have screen printer buddies here who could give a shit less. Just don't care. In fact, I have a buddy who's a rock and roller who's in a band there. I can't say the band's name, but it rhymes with Schmack and Tours. Can't say the band name, and I can't say the guy's name, Patrick Keeler. But he'll just throw shit on things because he knows they're only going to sell, not the Rack and Tours. Somebody's band might sell 10 of something. So it's kind of like the spirit of that. Listen, I have buddies who know how to play the cease and desist game. I have never had one of those show up here. I can't do that stuff. It's too weird. And like, Mike, Michael, if someone's asking you to do it, I've had to say, you guys, I can't do that, man. That's not, let's make your own thing. That's just yours. And let's just do the work. I know it's really idealized, but that's the truth. That's hopefully why they're coming to me in the first place. But, I have a buddy in Central Oregon who could just doesn't care. There's no way to trace it back. And usually it's all really benign stuff. It's not like you're putting Patagonia on things. It's like, usually it's like people are doing things. First of all, there's all this weird fair use stuff. If a logo is over so many years old, it's like 50 or 60 years or something, you can just use it, So like right now where you see all these like crappy stickers that are like national parks and stuff, and they're just digitally printing these sticker mule stickers and shit. That stuff's all fair use. Doesn't mean that they're going to be doing it appropriately. You know what I mean? Like the right kind of flavor, like it might have felt back in 1945. That takes work. It takes resources, and I don't know. When I know better than to go like, okay, I have a buddy in town here. He's a big sports guy, So Devin, right now, on your, imagine me laying on your purple bed, just rolling in a yellow and purple chiffon nightie, just talking about the Vikings all night long with you. I know better than to riff on that stuff. You know what I mean? Like here in Portland, Rip City is our little thing for the basketball team, Like you just don't go make Rip City shirts. You don't do that stuff. But when I put it on my poster, that's different because you're saying that's something that lives and exists here. But you know what I didn't put on my thing? Nike. And it's just because when I made that poster that time, I just was kind of tired of working for Nike projects. You know what I mean? Nothing bad. They didn't, they got enough going on here, if that makes sense. All right, so who's got another question here? We're way into overtime. Sean, what do you got?
First of all, thank you for the last 2 sessions. It was awesome. Learned a ton. I'm very much a beginner at Illustrator, so thank you for that. Is there a designer that everybody here would be shocked that you like compared to your style? Is there a designer that's so far away from your style but you absolutely love?
Yeah. Many. Wow. Jade Purple Brown. Write it down. Write it down. This girl's pretty badass, you know. Really flat vector shapes. You're seeing a lot of her stuff right now. She's getting blasted around pretty good. She's new to me. But you know, there's a lot of things. It's you know, the elegance of Louise Feely there's something there. It's really hard to outdo. You're not going to out Louise Feely. You know what I'm saying? And that reverence I have for that is she yelled at me one time to finish all my peas when we were after a big show in Austin. She's like my mom or something. You know, Louise Feely, that's pretty good. Get yelled at by Louise Feely. She's very sweet. Sat next to her and had dinner. Aaron Draplin, finish your piece. Okay. You know, I don't want to get some. Sadly, Mr. Milton Glazier passed, but we've been joking for a lot of years. One of these days, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna wake up at the crack of 12:40 like I do, go cash all the checks, and then go out my way to go see if anything else show up in the mailbox. There's gonna be a letter from Milton Glazier saying, open it up and. Well, that's it. Aaron Draplin, we're sick of your face. You're done with graphic design. I can get who am I going to get a letter? Michael Beirut. I've already met him and smoothed it over. Who am I going to get a letter from? One of these, big, whatever the hell is. I met them all. I don't know. I look at a lot of things, but I'm also really careful not to get too led by that stuff. But Sean, if you're just starting out, absolutely follow that stuff. Learn. Don't be afraid to emulate. Just don't post it. If you're gonna go learn, like Jessica Hish does these beautiful organic little, go and learn how to do that a little bit. It's awesome, and learn from it. But don't, certainly don't make something. My stuff is easy to ape, so I get a lot of that stuff going down, and it's also easy to do a bad job with. So I see a lot of that too. But I'm pretty quick to say, hey, it's a young kid. I'm not going to go after him and go, decimate him or punch down or any of that kind of crap. If I see it in a pattern, I don't even do it then. I just call the person up and say, stop. I'm not allowed to do that. Either are you. So, but, off the top of my head, the people that are, like John Contino, he's a prickly fellow, but I do appreciate his craft. I don't really know him all that well, but I like what he does. I know Gemma O'Brien just enough to, mess with each other in the backstage. And she's really good. She's really good. And I don't really know how to do that stuff. There's other people I'm just not interested in. What's her name? Jessica Walsh. Like, look at me on the street corner wearing 9 outfits. I just don't give a shit about that. When I'm around that in the backstage, I'll do all this shit on my iPhone, like, yeah, hi, Aaron Draplin here, Portland, Oregon. I'm looking for vanity photos. Could you help me? Shit like that, just to say, I really got to up my game. I want to look smarter and look like I really know what I'm doing. And I got a face like a pit bull, and I'm looking for vanity shots. Hold on a second. Hey, everybody, I'm in the backstage with Eric Speakerman and all these assholes. And Eric Speakerman, if you look him up, like, I love his work, but he always comes after me. Mr. German comes after me, right after me. Oh, you fit on the plane? He said that shit to me. And I just went,
that's not nice.
Well, I know, but I just went, I go, hey, quit calling me. We're not hiring, Speakerman. And the whole place laughed, And I went, I got it. I go, next time I see him in Berlin, he says some shit to me, and I just kind of go, well, with the work release, they're letting you back into the public, huh? Nice to see you back out here with us again. Glad you beat the charges, Eric. And I didn't get, I just walk away. Fuck that guy. I watched my dad do that my entire life, my entire life, be able to just make people loose, make people chill, and then if someone was a little uptight, you could bring them down a little peg. Like, like in the 80s, There was always some guy who fought in the big one. You know, there's some guy, Hank, fought in the big one. He's got the USS, you know, Arizona hat on and all that kind of shit, you know, telling war stories and stuff. And, you know, talking down to us, you ever going to be in the service? You know, you're an artist, Aaron. And my dad just goes, Hank, you were in the big one, huh? Oh, yeah, I was in so-and-so. Whose side did you fight for, Hank? You know, that kind of shit. Just a little bit of fun, just to loosen up the barbecue a little bit. So I saw that shit, but, you know, it was always fun.
Awesome.
But,
Cool. Thank you very much.
Good luck to you, man. Good luck to you. Look at things, learn from things, get weird, and hope to meet you out there somewhere after all this lift. All right.
Awesome.
Anything else, children? Anything else? Okay. Okay. We're going down to the corner. Christopher, what do you got?
Oh, can you hear me before I lose connection?
Yeah, I hear you. Yep.
Okay. Well, earlier, like in the chat, I just had a question about your opinion on the Portland Trailblazers logo. I don't know why I really asked it. I just wanted your opinion, and I don't know why I actually want your opinion.
Okay. Yeah. I can tell you a couple little things about it. First of all, I love the retro one, of course. You know, that classic one. You know.
Oh, the upright one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the one that was from the 90s, I mean, I'm not a big sports fan. Are you a sports fan?
We'll go yes. It's just that right now I'm pissed off at sports leagues, but I love sport.
I understand. I understand. I understand. Well, listen. Okay. When I go watch the Blazers, see, I'm gonna get in trouble now. When I go watch the Blazers, I don't give a shit if they win or lose. I go there because I love to see these 22-year-old kids living the American dream. The series of things that they had to do to get there, it's amazing. And the idea that that kid could break an ankle and then not be able to support his mom and all these people in his community, I just have a lot of respect for that poise. So when I go there, it's like, look how cool this kid is, up and down this court, how just a gazelle, you know? And I get lost in, oh, the so-and-so suck and the Blazers suck this year. I just don't care, you know? I'm just always there like, wow, that kid did it. How lucky. So when I've been in the airport, and one time I walked with the entire defensive line of the Buffalo Bills, I was just saying to these guys, like, you little punk, I looked you up. You're 28. What's it like to have a lot of 40 million bucks in the bank? And he's like, there's a lot, you get taxed a lot. That's a 28-year-old answer. You know what I mean? It was amazing. I just looked at him, I said, listen, you rats, sign every autograph, man. Oh, we do, we do. Yes, sir. I mean, they were all good kids. They're kids. 24-year-old like dudes my size, but like 6'9" and shit. It was amazing. But you know, to just talk about that logo, you have to understand the logo that you see the most of, that was brought to you by Nike. And it's the one that kind of sucks. My two buddies who work for the Trailblazers, they're not even allowed to like mess with the type because that's all sanctioned by Nike and dictated by Nike because it's all tied into the merch. So when I worked for the Blazers and did stuff for the Blazers, the only what do I touch? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I gotta get this is all crusty here, sorry. Let me show you what I worked on and I'll show you why it was so weird. It was awesome, but I've worked for them for a couple times now, and these are what I made. So okay, Christopher, I don't like this one. I like the new one. It's all cleaned up, you know, the classic. Yeah. But this is the one that's on everything. I mean, that's okay, you know. But when I got to work for these guys, the only place my T-shirt got to be used was in the blimp when it dropped free T-shirts while it's going around through the crowd. You know what I mean? Because they don't make any money. It's just meant for like, you know, it's just meant for like promo, you know. And like this one right here, based on the starting lineup of white guys and black guys, you could switch it out. It was awesome, you know. So they were doing that for fun things on certain game nights, and you know, I got to work for but you can even see here, look how crazy this is. Like we even got the traps down. Can you see this right here? I don't have the traps turned down. I don't have see that?
Yeah.
Little traps. Like I had the shit dialed so those guys could make easy T-shirts and stuff. But
and those ones you have the current logo, right?
What do you mean the current logo?
Well, just look at the not the one that you showed previously, like the 90s one, but like is that like the current one?
Yeah. So okay, my friends worked on this one right here. I'll show you. If you can see this one, let me see if I can get it into here. Oh crap. Sorry guys. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I love it. I didn't work on it. I mean, I don't know if that's what you're asking, but my friends did. And that's the last thing about 3 years ago. See, it says 2018, 2 years ago. That was the last thing to get in before Nike took over all the like licensing stuff. So it's really weird because it's like, you know, it's like at that level with that much merch, they signed large contracts and then Nike went and redid all the type and then they got to keep that logo. So it was cool. But you know, the type that they're like forced to use now, check it out. Look at someone getting mad about it. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that shit. Let me see here. This one right here, like this type right here, Nike did that. Look at that gap right there. Look, you could back the van through that thing. Look how gross that is. I mean, there's things you could do. They couldn't say anything. That was handed down to all the teams one by one. They redid it. Nike, 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 you know, and it's all right, but I know the kind of, it's gonna sound weird, but I know the kind of human side of it, which is my buddies who work at the Blazers. One guy's name is Mario Milosevic. He's from Croatia, Bosnia and stuff, Yugoslavia, and he's been here 13 or 14 years. Came a long time ago, like war torn, like 22 years ago. He's worked for him for 13 years, and you know, he gets to be like a little Blazer, you know, and meet all the guys. And about 2 years ago, this whole policy changed where like 3 years ago, if the team made a list and said, okay, Blazers, we're starting the year out. We need you here 1 week before because we're going to take photos, you know, like where they palm the ball and shit, you know, the stuff you see at the show, that kind of stuff. Well, it turns out that changed. And they had to pay for every single likeness to the player. So before it was part of the league, but it changed. And now when they want to get all that stuff or sound bites that say like, tonight we play the Timberwolves or whatever the hell they're doing, they have to pay for all that stuff. So check it out. Some players will come and only do 2 or 3 hours. They're not obligated. The agent set up the price. If they didn't like the money, they won't do, but they'll just do whatever they can pack in 2 hours and they leave in their nice car and they're done. Damian Lillard spent 4 days with them and was paid for maybe a half a day. And that is just fucking awesome because he is right here in town. You know, I mean, he's a person and he's like 26 years old or 20, you know what? I mean, I sat next to him on an airplane ride one time and he had 00 on his bag. And I'm about 5'10", you know, he's not much taller than I was. So I was just thinking he must work for the team or something, you know? And then I got home that night and I looked up what's 00. It was his rookie year. So what is that, like 8 or 9 years ago or something? Lillard. And, you know, he was so nice to everybody in the plane, his beats on and all that kind of shit. You know, he's just a young kid. You know, he's like 19 years old. And then I saw him doing all those, you know, 3-pointers at the last buzzer and shit. Like, we're talking like highlight shit, you know, like Steph Curry shit. My little sister does nails in town. By the way, look at those nails. I'm a nail biter. Look how, why are we even talking about this shit? What are we doing? Anyway, you know, hour 6 of 7 starts now. My sister does nails. She's been talking to whoever Damian Lillard's wife is because she has a salon. And word got out that my sister, you know, might be looking for a new gig, but that was about 6 months ago before all the stuff went down, you know. And I retired her. I retired her out of her job because we just did the math. I just said, how much do you make in a year going in and doing this shit for 4 hours a day or whatever it was? That's it. Just keep these done and your big brother will take care of you, you know? So that's the policy. Devin, you want me to adopt you and retire you right now? We could have a chat, but all right. Okay. Who's got something else? Christopher, stay strong, man. All right. Who else? Who's got something? Come on. Let me get into the far reaches. Annabella, what do you got? What do you got? Nothing. I'm just messing. Let's see. Emma's going to sleep well tonight. Okay. Michael, yes, sir.
Yeah, I got another question, if that's
No
all right,
problem.
if I'm allowed to ask more than
No
one.
problem. No problem.
So you kind of touched upon this already throughout the last two sessions, but in this day and age of just instant technology and instant information, and people want instant results, and I've come to look at it as, do you want it right or do you want it right now? Because people want it right now. I mean, do you have any suggestions or tips on how to maybe rein a client in or rein the supervisor in to let them know that we can get this done, but you need to give me time to get it right? And I know it's a difficult question. I just didn't know. I don't know if that's something that you encounter in your day-to-day activities, or if you got any suggestions or any tips.
I've been under the thumb where he said the word supervisor, where it's like, listen, someone's pushing you around, you get a paycheck from, whatever that chain is. Listen, I had to work for all these people back in May that there's a big paycheck coming, which is insane. Don't tweet that. But that should never happen. But when I was on the clock for them, it was hourly they needed shit. And really my best recourse was just to keep up with it. Even if it wasn't all that good, just keep up with it. Because then I was always playing offense. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And just to size it up. And if someone presses you, I've also had to do the human thing where like, you couldn't get it done in this time. I've had to say that shit. And the guy's like, yeah, I know, I mean, listen, I've only had one like structured job. But I will just say this much. I was always pretty good about going the extra distance, maybe even kind of naive from a naive standpoint. Other people knew how to play it better than I did. And I just, first thing to do when you're in a hole is quit digging. And if you're behind, start working, and get the hell out of the hole. It means you have to work tonight. Everyone would be belly aching. I have Pilates. I have to go do this. I want to go, hike, and I want to do this. Fuck, man, just get it done. So I was pretty good about that. I was always just like, the collective meant more to me than my little needs of like, I was supposed to leave at 5:12 or whatever. No. We played fucking ping pong 6 hours a day for the last 3 weeks. Sometimes you got to like make up for that stuff. And tonight's the night. What? We're going to order in. We're going to work all that, so I was always okay with that shit. And then you get a girlfriend, whatever, and then she's like, and I just say, who pays all the bills and shit like that, but it's just a weird thing, I don't know. Like sometimes you just have to kind of dig deep and be like, okay, I'll have it done for you tomorrow, but you better pick some, because if they're asking that much more, and also when I start a project, I'm pretty good at setting the tone where it's like, you guys, we don't need to have daily check-ins, Zoom calls and shit. We don't need to do this. I'll have it for you Friday morning, early. Let's get it going, and then show up as you send the shit Thursday night, to like your point person, and then get them all fired up because they'll circulate it. And then by the time you go in next morning, they're already like ready to pick some stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's little funny things you can do. I don't know, I mean, I get kids pretty specifically like, how do you get my so-and-so to, to mellow out of me? And it's like, listen, just be a human, and say, hey, I meet this all the time for you guys. You're pushing me, I mean, I don't know, man, it's tricky. I worked one job where it was like, you couldn't leave the place. People would leave under this half wall, almost like crawling, like on their little haunches to get out of it. Because if the guy saw you in his periphery, he'd be like, not working late? We're working late, And I mean, they would like crouch to get out of his vision and then get to the door and run so he could leave at 5 or 5:30. I just couldn't escape. I was sitting, I'd get up to like, yawn or something. He'd be like, whatever. Like, I just learned finally I just cracked on the guy. That's when I put my month in. I said, man, fuck this, man. You know who's making all the money? You are. And I'm staying late. Do I get more salary? That night, I made 70 grand a year in 2002. That night, he offered to pay me $140,000 if I stayed past the month. And I said, where was the 140 the last 2 years I worked here when I was here till midnight? I get pissed because I think about that. It's just part of cutting your teeth. It's part of cutting your teeth. If I got paid 70,000, which was a lot of money, I got on the plane for them. I stayed late for them. I was good. I never played this game of like, I'm the supervisor to the little rats. They're all my friends. You know, if you use the word we and not my team, it makes a big difference in semantics, you know, that kind of shit. So, you know, I did that for just 2 years, and then I cracked one night and said, you know, I can do this on my own. I'm leaving. And that's when I got this big raise. I said, just keep it. You're the one who makes all the cash, you know. But that guy also would sit there and would be, listen, I didn't have anyone at home, but he had babies at home. And at like 8:20, the mom's calling so he can tuck them in over the phone. It's not good, you know. I saw that shit go down, you know, and it was like, I don't care what you have in your bank account. Your lady doesn't like you, you know. That's not good math. But anywho, yeah, I don't know, you know, be human, over exceed, do what you can, and if they continue to push you, fucking quit. But save up your money first, you know. Okay, we're getting into, we're not even, this isn't even overtime now. This is just weird, is what this is. Who hasn't dealt with someone? Who's got something here? Come on. Anything? I'll answer anything. Nothing?
Hey, you didn't get a chance to look at my thing.
Wait, let's look. Mitch. I mean, where do I find it? In the comments?
Here, I'll post the, I'll repaste.
I'll find it. I can scroll. Got a good strong mouse finger. Let me see here.
Probably the only guy that used the box.
Let me see here. Where did you put it in there again? Okay, let me see. I don't even know what box is. Something new. Here we go. The preview didn't load. Please re-upload the file or contact box support.
What?
Let me see if it comes. Let me see. Yeah, since I got to log in. Okay, wait. Here it goes. Maybe. Mitch. I think I got it. Okay, let's see here. Mitch. Okay, everybody, just chill out. Okay, everyone, just relax. What do I touch? What do I do? This is pretty sweet. Well, all right, Mitch. Here we go. Show up the guy who's doing the workshop. Thanks a lot. This is actually pretty sweet, man. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty good. First thing I would say, because I'm just trying to find something, you know, whatever. This navy's got to be beefed up a little bit darker because it's just getting too close to that blue, and that might just be my monitor. But I gotta tell you, this is pretty sweet, and there's good math going on, and there's nice distances, and I'll explain what I see and what I nerd out on in just a second here. Like, I'm just gonna give that blue a little bit more. There's a couple. There we go. That navy blue just a little bit more to kind of give it some distance. Let's see here, because really what this stuff is all about like distances, right? And I'll show you what I mean by this. Like right now, if I go and give this a navy blue, and remember, the reason I say this is because my monitor is different than Golombowski's, is different than Chow. I mean, they're all different. He's in the dark, I'm in half dark. One guy was in the light in Ashland, and they're all going to be all the monitors are going to look different. So we got to sort of respect that it can get weird. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to make little, I'm just making little swatches of all this stuff right now. And this is just to take a stock of where you're at here with all the colors. So I'm just making these little swatches, little global guys, because I'll show you what I'm going to do. Here's that blue. I'm going to show you guys a couple little tricks here of how to ensure that you've got your stuff colored up properly, right? When I make a screen print or something, what I'll do is, if he's got 3 colors in this thing, I mean, there's really not a lot to talk about here as far as like, it's like a good design, it's got good type, it's got, you know, good balance, and everything's just, you know, good work, man.
Thanks, man.
But what I would say is, now it's like, how do you make this thing bulletproof to hand off? And that's an art form within itself, right? So what I've done here is, you can see I built these 3 colors, just quick little, we'll call them spot colors, right? There they are, right? And, you know, kind of hard to see here. Let me see if I can get large. Oh, that's as big as it'll go, sorry. But there's not enough distance between the blues. So what I want to do is first things first, I want to make sure that all the blues are this medium blue that need to be that medium blue, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go click this. He might already have done this. It looks pretty tight, but I'm going to go under here and I'm just going to test it in a weird little way like this. Select same fill color. Okay, now check it out. One isn't selected, so that's good. So what you do is you get something weird because it isolates it, right? So I'm going to go click that blue. I'm going to double click that and make it just some weird color so we can just see where we're at. Okay, so that one, that means that's the blue. Now, if we go check this thing, I'm going to say, okay, let's go back to that blue. And there it is. And now we check that navy and bring it down to something weird. Check your preview. Okay, just that outline gets see that? Just the outline's getting messed with. Okay. So now go back to that navy. And now check your orange. Make it a global, you know, little spot color, process color, whatever you want. And then just check your preview to see what's getting dealt with. Okay, so let's see here. There it is. Preview.
Good catch on that blue, man.
Say it again.
That's a good catch on that blue.
Well, check it out.
Blue,
oh, sorry.
The darker blue is a 541C.
Okay.
And
well,
I should have known that because it's a brand color. It's part of my brand.
Okay. Well, here's what I would say. It's just about distance. So right now, when I say, okay, let's just check all our stuff. Here is a weird color. Okay, see how we're missing that orange? That little guy needs to go orange. So I brought to yellow. So now just go color that thing yellow and now bring it back to that orange or wherever you were close to. There you go. Okay, now check it out. Now what you can do now is you can just adjust globally, right? So there's the orange. Okay, let's bring that blue down so it bounces off. It bounces off of that navy just a little bit better, that 541. So let's just bring it down just a hair, 20 points or so, right? Because all we're doing now is we're just giving it distance between that, okay? Because what I would say is like, all right, it might use, maybe it could use one more little hit of the navy inside there somewhere. So let's just try something like this, just to give it just a little bit more, you know, like just one little dash of navy. And maybe I'm off, but there it is right there. Just that little dash right there. Because here's what I want to show you guys. Now, before I go hand this thing off, let's just say this is Mitch's Cincy, Cincy badge, okay? So we'll put this workshop, we'll put Mitch. I'll get a copy of this going. Okay, cool. What I do when I'm ready to hand off this thing for a t-shirt or something, I do simply this kind of shit. I'll go to that navy first of all and make it white. If everything goes away, that means everything is colored navy. See? There it goes. I go to the blue. If I make it down to the white, if everything is colored white, that means your blue's looking good. If you go to the orange, one more last step, and it all goes away, that means all your stuff is colored up properly. Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, and now you know, right? Because what I'll do is when I do one of these posters, I'll check it just before I go because somewhere I've got a Pantone, somewhere I have a little build, something is 0, 100, 100, 0, and the next one is 0, 99, 0, 100, 0. You know what I mean? Off one little dumb point, phantom click or something I clicked on, or instead of it being 100%, it's 99.9. Like, this is the kind of little stuff, just the tiny little things to make sure this is as bulletproof as possible. I mean, frankly, I can't really tear this apart. It's really, there's nice craft, good job. The one thing I would say that I would see, and it's really small, is there's 3 different lines here, right? I'm seeing 3 different lines. This line is different than this one. This line's different than this one. There's a couple ways to solve that. Should I try that?
Yeah, go ahead. I noticed that and I was like, dang it. I messed up my lines and I was like, okay, this is good enough. Draplin
I love it. Don't worry, we're good. Now watch how I would solve this because it is a tricky conundrum. Just check it out. If I grab one of these lines like this, just one, I mean, these are, okay, watch. If I grab this line just like this over here, and I do this, now watch what happens.
Man, I should have kept the strokes live.
I know, but just hold on. Look what happens.
Okay.
That distance is weird, and that's just all I did right there. I just duped it 2 times, right? 1, 2. Whoops. 1, 2. That gets weird, man, because that little, okay, and here's how you solve it, I think. And there's lots of ways, but what I would do is I would measure the distance right here. How I would do this, I'd just go quickly eyeball it with a circle and give it a weird color so we can see what we're messing with. Okay, so I would just eyeball that some which way like this. Bam, right there. It says 0.14, right?
Yeah.
So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this thing right here. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to measure the medium line. And that one looks like it's a little bit smaller, and we'll call that one 0.13. All right. So we'll just give that a different color so we can see what we're working with. Now check it out. What that means is this line should be 0.13, and then this space should be 0.14. But to trick that equally, this is how I'd probably do it. I would go offset 0.13. That's the white line. Oh, I did it with a rounded edge. Sorry. Okay. I would go offset 0.13 with a mitered edge. See that? Okay, that's the white line. Sorry, I'm just getting, okay. We'll just color it that for now. That's the white line. Now we got to do the orange line, and that one is, we'll just call it once again 0.14. So we're going to go offset 0.14. This is the orange line. So color it up that orange color. Let's do it again, 0.13 for the white line. Color that up the white. Do it one more time for that final navy blue. 0.1, I guess, shit, I don't know. Yeah, call it 0.13, sorry. Now, when we go and take a look at this thing, that is uniform. You see what I mean? It's tricky. There's some extra lines in there. We'll talk about that in a second. But what I would do is like, okay, so there's your, so now what we want to do is we want to isolate that stuff. I mean, this is the weird stuff that you got to do sometimes to get this stuff just like kind of perfect. So now I would just make a copy of this like this. I would lay one bar over it somehow. Again, that one extends a little bit over there, but like, check it out. I would do something like, I don't know, like, let's just try it like this first. I just want these bottom pieces, right? So let's just get these things into little shapes without those big long flares.
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
Yeah, I think I did do an offset, but something got funky somewhere along.
I mean, frankly, this is my favorite stuff to do because it's all about precision and it's all about just, you know, getting it to feel right. You know, it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes the computer will send you in weird little ways, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it can get weird. So I'm going to clean up these old guys, these other guys out of here.
Yeah, just get rid of that trash.
Don't be so hard,
do it
man.
over, dude.
We're gonna be okay. Let me see here.
Do it live.
Let's see here. Let me see here. Okay. X.
Hey, and I got a second artboard. I don't want to bandwagon anyone, but if no one else has something else to show, I got a second artboard.
I'll keep going. I know
there's a couple other people that would be good.
Go ahead.
At some point, Amy's gonna get kicked out of that business, but we'll just wait. We'll see. Who knows? Okay. Now hold on. I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm getting there. That thing like perfectly goes into that thing. So we're gonna fudge it for right now and just bring it up to this edge right here, bam, and then bring it up to this edge right here, bam, and then we're gonna, because it's just a little bit off. But you know what I mean? It's like this is the stuff I love because it's a puzzle. It's like a puzzle. And now, see the difference there? Like it's a little bit more. It's working. That distance right there. Sorry, mine's a little sloppier in this last little bit home stretch here. Look at. Okay, so now we lock this little guy. And let's bring this thing up to where you had it kind of that same distance. And then send me your other piece and we'll have a chat.
Oh, you can keep the file open. It's just a second artboard.
Okay, hidden somewhere or something, or?
Yeah, it's off to the side, I think.
I'm not seeing it.
Is
Okay.
it? Well,
So that's how
I'll
I'd solve that. You know, that's how I'd solve it. So I'm just going to save this one. Okay, send me it again. Is it on a different layer?
It's on a second artboard, like
How
a
are you
second
building
thing.
this stuff? How do you build stuff? What program?
Illustrator.
Yeah, okay. Because sometimes that one what's that one UI one? That one gets a little wonky. What's it called? Like Scratch or something, or
Hey,
Itch or some
Aaron,
shit?
do you mind looking at I think there's two other ones that I'd love to get you to look at here. Emily had
Okay,
one.
Okay.
Um,
Let me see here. Okay, Mitch, did you send it again?
No, but not yet. You can go ahead with
Okay,
someone
yeah.
else.
Okay, Matt, where should I go?
last one in the chat.
Okay, for Emily?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Ooh, ooh, let's get weird. All right, here we go. It's looking pretty cool. Okay, let me see here. Let me go find it. That's the wrong one. Come on, direct download. Okay. Oh, I don't have your typefaces, but cool. Okay, what's your question about this?
Well, I mean, I just noticed over watching you do some other ones with people, like the details I wouldn't have before, like the kerning and recreation is like super wonky the way that it defaults to. And then I just think that like the waves in my water texture are pretty clunky. That was just like a pattern that I had cropped. So just like little things like that, I think could still be cleaned up, but I hadn't noticed before you like walked through other people's.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I would say. Just on a general level, first things first, the type is a little low. I'm noticing it's a little low. So how we did that thing before, the type, it's just a little low in here right now, right? So you try to rebuild that thing on the orbit using the circle and bringing it in and then placing it along that thing. So it's like snapped in there, okay? And then the next thing is just about a consistency study. So check this out. If you go through right now and you were to kind of count, let me just go try to grab, what was that typeface? There's Barlow. I don't know if I have Barlow, but it looks kind of like a den. Let me see if I have some kind of a den. Hold on a second. Just something kind of close, okay. Pretty close. Okay, so check it out. If you notice here, there's a lot of different stuff happening. This thing is super, super close. And first of all, I'm not going to say, I'm not even saying if it's good or bad. It's on point. So good job, But what you need to do is just bring it over the finish line. And the thing is, if you were to go count the values, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, those little wisps right there, those are all a 1, we'll say, right? And then you go to the next one, these become a 2. You go to the next one, this is a 4, we'll say. What you need to do is either have them all consistent, and you know what I would do? I would do it off of the value of the type. So watch what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to try to go really quick here because I just want to, just for the sake of argument, watch how it starts to true up. So now I see what you're doing, but if you can get everything to be consistent to match with the type, you'll see it come to life. Watch this. Okay, so I'm going to go through it. I'm just going to take that smallest value. There it is. Okay, and we're going to call that one 3.2. So watch what I'm going to do here. Now, what those are all starting to do, they're starting to match the type of the width of that Barlow type or whatever that was called. Okay, because when we get it close, you'll see it in a second here. So I don't know how you have this built, but that one's just a little too thick. Let me see if I can't get this thing. Okay, here we go. 2. Let me get rid of this one. All right, pull this one behind it. Okay, because what we're trying to do is like even this now, see how that one's too thick? Because it just stands out. You know, these are too thin, and it's like what you're doing is you're just trying to get everything to feel like that type. That made the decision. And then you can go through. So for instance, this little guy that's inside here, right here, go bring it down to 3.2. You know, 3.2. There it is. This little guy, cool. Because now what you're doing is you're starting to see where this thing, now if that's too light, if you bring everything up to 4 point or 4.5, you will see the consistency. And then when you get there, it allows you, once everything is consistent, then it allows you to go back to what the original design was doing so well, was putting a couple thick lines on some stuff. So a little bit thicker here to kind of hold that thing, cool, etc. Right? In the end, what you want to have it do is like, you want the math to have simple values. The smallest line is 3 points. The width of the type is this. The thickest line is only one other line, and that goes to 6. 3 to 6, it doubles, because then it could start to like inform other little things. For instance, like the little lines and the wavy lines in the water, those should be 3, right? And that's what you know, like really attack this thing in a way, like your design is killer, it's fine, but attack it in a way where you are building it like if it was 2x4s or Legos, and you're
Right,
really
like
only allowed to have like, I'm sorry?
Yeah, like the really mathematical pieces that fit within each
Yes,
other.
because like here's something I was just looking at the other day, and let me toot my own horn a little bit, but I was like marveling at something from about 15 years ago, and I was like, damn, this is before I was doing classes. Who told me about this stuff? Where did I, you know, what kind of what's wrong with me is what I was thinking. Like I have worried about this stuff for years, and I'll show you where it shows. It's weird. See it? It's like, I don't want this type to overpower those lines. All the lines are the same. There's no way you can get away with it, but you can start to see where it starts to make sense somewhere like here. You know, you just want these things to be as consistent as possible. And this is from such a long time ago, but you know, I was trained that way. Like this right here, frankly, that is the width of the type. The thickest part of the type are those other lines. This is from 1995. You know, I don't know. You just sort of like, I probably did it because it just made sense or something. Same with this. The thick line of that Michigan is that Michigan type. So you allow that thing to lock in with it, you know. It's just little things like that, you know. I mean, I don't know, you know. There's funny little bits of math when you build these things. Like that is all the same width. And you let that rescue you. You know what I mean? You let it rescue you. So yeah. God, I'm showing you guys all the stuff, you know. Oh, we've been having watermelon every other night. I destroy that shit. It's amazing. All right. Okay, well, I think we're 2 hours in overtime. Why don't we wrap this stuff up? People look tired. People look sad. People just look like they just want to punch me in the face. It's okay. Lori's still ripping. Where are you at, Lori? You in LA?
No, I'm up in the Pacific Northwest outside of Seattle.
That's right. We've met many times.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
nice. Always one of the nicest people. You know, just always wondering, why are nice people coming to this thing? That's what I'm always thinking when they walk up. Like, what happened? You guys take a wrong turn? Well, I don't know, you know. So thanks for coming, you guys. Okay.
Thank you.
Any final questions just to wrap this thing up? Okay. Show of hands. In the 7 hours that we've hung out, did you guys have a good time? Okay.
Yeah, man.
You learned
Yeah.
something.
Hell yeah.
Was it worth the $95 or whatever the hell it was?
Yes, absolutely.
Every penny.
Right. I mean,
Oh,
for
yeah.
every F word that I said, Annabella, I owe you $2 or $3. Okay. Devin, I'm still your dad. We did the paperwork. You know, oh my God. Jack, got a great head of hair. Good job. You know, Emily, you have a voice like an angel. Christopher, I'm pissed off at teams too. And, you know, Jake, just chill out, Jake. Just chill out. Go and take a big bong rip of some Netflix and kick the feet back. Golembuski, you got a beautiful last name. And where are you at, Golembuski? Where are you at?
Outside Philly.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah. I told a story about being outside Philly last night on my factory floor Fridays because when we went back into Philly, one of the kids bought heroin, and that was fun. Brown heroin in Philadelphia. So here's another Philadelphia story. One time, you know those little pretzels you get downtown? The little guys are about yay, you know, little guys on the street corner and shit. So I come up and there's this little guy and I go, how much for a whole bag of them? You know, 'cause I'm gonna live off them for the next 3 days. And the guy's like, I've got 20 left. You know, so I gave him $50 or something. You know, they were a couple bucks a piece. $50. I got a whole bag. He gives me the bag. The bag is still warm. You know, oh, I eat a couple. Delicious. Start driving out of Philly down into Virginia's and stuff. Got the bag all tied up in the back seat. A couple hours later, I go back to go dip into that stuff. It's getting, you know, it's a little snack time, and the whole sumbitching thing was one big ball of yeast. It just kept growing inside the bag. It was just all gross and turned into one wet pretzel about the size of about 2 basketballs. And I had to throw it into the Appalachian Mountains off the side of some, you know, just so stupid. But here's another fun story about throwing shit off the highway that you guys are going to love. And my dad's not around. He's not here to defend it. But I'm going to tell you the straight story right now. Okay, ready? We're going into triple overtime. This is sudden death, Christopher. Okay, you're at the free throw, buddy. You're getting ready to put it in. This is it. Okay, we're down 1 point. And if you fuck this up, okay, now listen. My dad used to make a lot of stupid folk art, and then he'd force it on everybody. Okay, he'd force it on you. So what he would do, he saw in some magazine, you get a 2x4. That's we'll call it a 2x2. You know, 3x3 by about 6 foot, and he'd carve like snowmen and Santa Clauses and shit, and then he'd put a little poker on the end, and then you're supposed to take that thing and stick it in your yard, and you got this like Christmas yard art shit, right? So this one year, you know, he taught me how to pack my van. I had gone back home. This was probably about 2006. I'd gone back home. The van is meticulously packed, or my Passat wagon at the time. It's packed. There's not room for anything in the van, and I'm ready to go. And I'm ready. I mean, I'm getting out of there. I'm crying. I'm going back to Oregon. I just spent a month with them back in Michigan or whatever it was. And as I'm just getting ready to leave that morning, my dad goes, "Ooh, I got something for you." Now, let me just get a photo of him so we can see what we're messing with here. Let me just, hold on. Everyone just chill out. Can you even, hold on. This is going to be a 2-hour story. How do we do it? Where do the things go? What do you touch? Let me go find the photo. Let me see here. Let me just go. I got to be careful what I pull up here because some weird shit can happen. But just say, like, let me see here. Let me see. This is when we're going to paint my van with a picture of my dad on it. And we're just spitballing what that would look like. Let me see here. Dad. There he is with his old cars. There he is, giving a little love to the family, brushing his hair. God. But there, let's see. Okay, I gotta find. There's just, there he is, just kicking ass. Okay, so my dad, you know, just, okay, you're leaving. I made this, and you're taking it with you. And okay, exactly this moment right here. He's working out in his shop, and he's, you know, the little extra shop, and he goes, I painted this thing, Aaron, for you. I want you to have it. You're taking it with you. And the car's ready to go. He puts it in the way back. And okay, thanks, Dad. You know, I don't need it, Dad. Aaron, I want you to have it. I want you to have it. And so I get going, and I drive south out of Traverse City, Michigan, right? You know, down the coast. I hook over into, you know, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo. I'm getting down to Gary, Indiana, and I get out onto the big road 80. And I get onto the big road, and now it's all silent on the big road, you know. And I'm going across Iowa, you know. I'm going across Iowa, and I can hear in the back, tick, 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 because that fucking thing was just laying on top of all my stuff. And maybe it's kind of hitting the window or something. Tick, 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 tick. By the time I get to goddamn, Nebraska, that fucking thing's Morse coded War and Peace twice or something back and forth. It's freaking me out. I pull over. I take that thing, and one of those guys that do those like in the Olympics, the slingshot, or what is it called? Where
Hammer throw.
Hammer throw. I hammer throw that son of a bitch out into some field in Nebraska or something, and it just kind of pokes into the ground. And I leave it there, and I drive to Oregon. A couple months later, Mom and Dad come out to see me in Michigan. First thing he walks, he goes, where the hell's the straw man, or the Halloween thing, or the Christmas? Where's the snowman? Where's the snowman? I said, someone stole it, Dad. He goes, you threw it out, didn't you? You threw it out, didn't you? And anyway, that's the story. So never quite told him that I threw that son of a bitch off into a field. I couldn't take it anymore. It's probably still in that field right now in Nebraska or Illinois or something. But all right, you guys, that's it. Go to bed. Good night. Thanks. See you around. Give me a good review. Take care, you guys. Emily, bye-bye. I'll leave you here. Right? I get the guitar. Christopher.
Devin.
Wait. Jake, I hate your face. Devin, I hate the Vikings all day long. Regina, you're like a sunset and I don't know. Hey, good night, everybody. See you. I can't sing. See you guys later.
Thanks, Aaron. Matt, thank you very much, bro.
Don't hold me to this. Don't hold me to it. Thanks. See you guys. Good night.
Thanks, guys.